Well, ladies and gentlemen, hello, good evening, and welcome to BOL Gold. It is quarterfinals time, which means we've got teams that are hanging on by the skin of their teeth and teams that are still looking for the big wins. Hyperion and BDE managed to get into the playoffs here, but not quite enough to get that very, very useful bye into the semifinals. So they are playing for the chance to face off against the BDE Corruption sister team, BDE Typhoon. Hyperion, as the lower ranked team, has been pushed to the blue side by Big Duck Entourage, and will be taking that for game 1 in this best of 5. I am your host, Alls. I will be joined momentarily by Dory, who is running just a bit behind, but these teams are already flying through picks and bans. All 6 of the first round of bans have been taken off the table already, and boy, are they taking some powerhouses out of the jungle. The Ivern and Skarner already taken away, as well as the Rek'Sai, who's still seen a ton of play up in the top side, but Hyperion not pulling any punches, taking that Jinx in the very first pick. Now, Jinx is in an incredible spot and has been for many, many patches, where despite being one of the best scaling ADCs in the game, she can still pick up 2 or 3 kills very early and get to that scaling breakpoint much faster than other ADCs have the capacity to. BDE is diving into the archives a little bit here with the Smolder. It'll be interesting to see if this goes in the mid lane or if it is a response to the Jinx. But we also have both junglers here, as the Jarvan and Jin Zhao both coming out, and of course, these are some great early game gankers. They have a ton of pressure in that level 3 to 6 phase, and frankly, both of them have some teamfight potential in the mid game, although J4 carries a little bit more with that Cataclysm into the late game. Ahri for Hyperion here, another champion that you just have seen constantly throughout, regardless of the level of play, because she is so powerful, especially with that Malignance the moment she hits level 6. Has so much capacity to roam, so much capacity to cause chaos all over the map. So unsurprising here that it's been taken away by Hyperion. BDE is going to round out the first half of their draft with the brand, and we're going to see a lot of top lane bans here, folks, as that's the Malphite, Ornn, and Camille all being taken away. No Seraphine here for Hyperion means that's being taken out of the pocket of that Jinx, so a little bit less pressure there for that, although there are a ton of supports that still work quite well, including the Lulu, who we've seen come back into the meta just a little bit. Now, though, Corruption is slowing down the tempo as they're looking at this second round of picks, and Alistar is going to be the choice here. That does pretty well lock Brand into the mid lane, and this Smolder with an Alistar on the side. I don't know how I feel about that here, folks, because Alistar really wants to be that engaged champion from levels 3 to 6, as we get through the middle of laning phase and towards the end. I mean, yeah, he's a great disengager if Jin Zhao comes in, but doesn't necessarily play to what Smolder wants to do. We'll have to see if he can get some good roams off here to make use of that headbutt pulverized power, as the Lulu is, of course, what has been picked up by Jinx and Hyperion here to round out that bot lane. And now, with the top lane pool so pinched, will be the Renekton here. Now, we saw a lot of Renekton last night in the BOL Plat quarterfinals and was quite effective in the hands of Soul. However, was not enough to guarantee a win there, as Agni Kai was able to take that. So, will be interesting to see if it has a little bit more of a good luck charm effect here for Hyperion. And to match it in the top lane for Big Duck Entourage will be Kayle? If that's intentional, that is a heck of a swing. Kayle is not a champion that we've seen in the center of the meta for a very long time here, folks, and will be interesting into this Renekton, as of course the Renekton is reliant on getting on top of you for that early bullying, but Kayle, once she hits level 6, and even before with the E and Q spam, should have some good capacity to stay out of range. So we will have to see how that goes, but if the Kayle does get online, Kayle Smolder is an incredibly powerful combo here in terms of high-powered late game carries from the backline, and Brand to round that out is impressive as well. However, neither of these teams have anything in the way of major tanks to stand forward, except for, to a lesser extent, the Alistar here as a support. He's not going to get any gold at any point in the game, which, you know, any support is used to, but very interesting for these squads, more focused on those bruisers, more focused on the engage and the fight than actually keeping their teammates alive. And while both of these supports have some good disengage, and we've got a lot of defensive power built into the bruiser comps with the Xin Zhao Crescent Guard and the Kale ultimate, it's still not nearly the same as, say, an Ornn or a Malphite or a Maokai even. So it'll be interesting to see how these fights shake out here as we get into the 20-25 minute point. Now, we're all praying that none of these games turn out like last night, where we had only 2 games go below 45 minutes. But folks, I am going to step aside since I've been yapping nonstop for about 5 minutes here. These teams are getting into draft and getting on to the rift, so as soon as spectator delay ends, we will be right here with the first game of the BOL Gold quarterfinals and the inauguration of BOL Gold playoffs between Hyperion Gaming and BDE Corruption. Don't go anywhere because BOL content will be right back.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back. It is not my fault. I was here. I swear, I made it. That being said, jungle mid R2, R3, or R1, R2. No, I don't agree with you. You know who you are. Anyways, we're in the game. Notice that one of the junglers does not have smite. We unfortunately, due to the circumstances, are not going to be able to get a remake here. So keep that in mind. Check your minimap. Going to be trying to play this game without a smite. He's going to be down that XP. He's going to be problematic. But Alls, you want to tell me in a little bit more detail what the ramifications are and what you would do if you were check your minimap right now?
Well, this makes it really unfortunate because it means you can't buy a jungle item. As we can see, he's got that Doran's Blade. It means you're not getting the extra jungle camp XP, so you're going to be incredibly far behind, especially off that first camp. Not getting the level 2 means you don't have as much health to clear that second camp, means you don't have the second spell, so your clear speed is going to be incredibly slow. If you check your minimap, frankly, the correct choice here, as much as your laners are going to hate it, is Leech. You wander top, you gank, you take half a wave with them. You wander mid, you gank, you tank half a wave with them, and so on and so forth. Or, in fact, you just say, screw the jungle, let's gank immediately, which apparently seems to be what Minimap is thinking about here.
Yeah, and it looks like he's taking that E, so keep your eyes on Dion Atlas, trying to hit level 2, but it is going to be a little bit of a disadvantage here. Check your minimap, is leeching XP, not going to hit the level 2, and Pandora, I'm going to be forced to play really safe here. I wonder what the plan is. I mean, it looks like he's just going to have to leech, but maybe leeching off mid's the right idea. Do you think there's some validity to just pushing mid and roaming on repeat?
I mean, there's a shot here, and there used to be a world, you know, back in Season 1 where it was no jungler, and you'd send an extra support to one of the solo lanes. It was generally top lane instead of mid, just because mid is so short that you can't actually get a lot of pressure. You can't make use of that extra number to push people off the wave as meaningfully. And you can see that Pandorum, already level 2, hasn't been able to be zoned off of XP in any meaningful way here, has still been able to get the value out of these creeps, even if he's not getting the gold. So I think there are potentially better places for minimap to be, but folks don't play this kind of game, so they're not used to having to deal with this.
Yeah, you know, it would be really funny. All right, stick with me for a minute here. What if we lane swap? What if we lane swap Indigo and bot lane, and then we put minimap top with bot lane, and we just hard rush first turret and then rotate for every neutral objective?
Oh, so just Season 8 strats.
Yeah.
I mean,
it sounds like an absurd bastardization of what's happening in MSI too.
Yeah, I mean, that is a thing that has happened in the past in League of Legends, so it's not exactly unreasonable. A little bit awkward, though, in the execution, given that you don't actually have any levels, so it would be interesting to see how that works out, as we've got fighting on both sides of the map here.
Yeah, and actually the flash coming out, Moonlight being forced away, Vampiric Narwhal actually turning focus onto Attila though. First blood going down to an Attila, and that's going to be a slowdown for a W. Going to get a double kill down to Attila. Moonlight barely survives the play, and Narwhal, we've got a sub-support coming in, right? This is Vionclysis?
Yeah, Venoclysis. It is a
Venoclysis.
name that has been not uncommon in the IBSG world. I believe I recognize him from the Nameless League, actually. Can't remember what team he played on, but not an unknown player here, not an unknown factor, just not quite on the same page as Vampiric there, and they paid for it pretty heavily.
Yeah, and that's going to be Attila getting a massive lead off the bat. It is going to be counteracted a little bit by the differential, but you're looking at nearly a 1,000 gold lead already, just off of Attila getting that first blood. Didn't even burn his flash, and he's still going to be able to play this lane relatively safely with that.
Yeah, that's really good for this Jinx, and this is something that I did bring up in Champ Select as well, that Jinx is in such a great state right now, where she's able to both simultaneously be the best hyperscaler in the game, and be one of the ADCs most capable of getting those early level 1, level 2 kills, is XIL's in trouble here, flash forward from minimap, but doesn't get the third hit of the 3 Talon Strike.
And the headbutt pulverize just going to follow it up just a bit, but not really going to be able to turn that into anything. We do have dive potential if the back doesn't go off, but it is. And Vionclysis over here holding that wave for a long time. Vampiric Narwhal, though, being put in a really awkward position. Not going to be able to get any stacks if he's being abandoned by his support. Such a strong duo is like Jinx Lulu. It's a classic.
Yeah, I mean, this was already kind of a lost lane for Narwhal, it feels like, and may just get even more lost as goodbye. That's Attila big, and this is starting to kind of balance out the jungler issue here, I feel like, Dory, because, yeah, minimap hasn't been able to do anything, and is going to be in a real rough spot regarding jungle camps here for the entirety of the game, and regarding those neutral objectives, but Swag hasn't actually taken any of the camps from blue side, hasn't made use of this, you know, like old school bots, where whoever was playing jungle could just freely invade, could take both sides of the map, and giga farm and become incredibly fed. So it does feel like they've been doing a pretty good job of mitigating some of the issues with the missed smite pick in Champ Select.
Yeah, and I wouldn't honestly be surprised at this point to start seeing check your minimap as we actually see a little bit of electrocute proc coming out from Dion. The Spirit Rush coming out, gonna get all 3 procs, and Pandorum gonna escape with his life, but forced to walk out. Doesn't even have to flash, but if he stays here to accept this, Ahri can try to threaten a charm. If Ahri can get a little pick, here comes the potential. No, gonna throw a Q instead of a charm and walk away. So like I was saying, so you can see check your minimap kind of rotating down here to the boss side. There's an entirely huge chance that all he's gonna do is just hard focus as the headbutt's used to escape. Check your minimap could just repeat gank bot with how strong this bot lane is. If Attila can just set up like a 2-wave slow push or a 3-wave crash, it could actually turn into something for check your minimap. Or he could just get caught! He's getting caught by the headbutt pulverize. Gonna barely survive. Lulu shield coming down. The polymorph gonna stop Swag for just a moment, but the flag does come out. Check your minimap, escaping by going to the minion. Ignite going down onto Attila. He's still kiting it out. Gets headbutt pulverized down. Gonna be forced to flash. Throws down the W.
Attila can get excited here.
Heading backwards. Vionclysis is getting really low. Dion Atlas coming in. Channels the Foxfire. Is gonna get a proc off onto Vampiric Narwhal, and that's gonna be a kill going down to Moonlight. Vampiric Narwhal gonna go down yet again in Jinx. 4-0-1, 400 gold shutdown this early in the game, alls.
Yeah, and look at that gold differential, has quite literally doubled the value of Vampiric at this point, and yeah, this is starting to become a major issue, Dory.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you realistically think that jungle pressure would just be like pivoted onto one team's advantage, but Attila and Moonlight are playing this lane incredibly well and causing massive problems for BDE off the bat.
Yeah, and if you're BDE, how do you even start to regain control of this bot lane? Because Smolder is a cannon minion at this point. The Alistair's tried to roam, tried to get value elsewhere, but hasn't done anything, and even Swag showing up there had levels on Check Your Minimap, but just couldn't confirm the kill.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Swag is blundering really hard by not just like instantly doing every smiteable objective, every smiteable camp, every neutral just on cooldown. These grubs should just be down right away. They should be on rotation for Vion Glycis to immediately go there. Dion Atlas gonna get a charm off 3 levels up on Vion Glycis, but he's gonna get the stun. Vampiric Narwhal can't rotate. He's just too far behind Pando. Gonna try to rotate into the river, but you've got 4 people for the side of Hyperion already here. Vion Glycis getting knocked down, gets hit by the charm, and is gonna go down to check your minimap. A little bit of gold in his pocket as he's still sitting on 16 CS.
Who's counting? It's still better than Vinaclysis.
Absolutely, that's more than 8.
Plus, at the end of the day, despite not having Smite, despite not having any jungle item, Check Your Minimap still has taken this first Hextech Drake, so it is, in the extension, the 1-for-1 neutral trade that we normally see here between junglers.
Yeah, and just imagine what's going to happen if Hyperion does get a Smite. Now, I did talk about this earlier, like, even though their strength of schedule is not huge, Hyperion has been a team that has really high highs. Unfortunately, they've had some low lows, and they've had a relatively easy schedule lately. And after some roster shakeups, we were a little, like, rightfully concerned about the team. But they're looking really good. Their jungler is integrating into the team, and he's proven to be tilt-proof despite being 40 CS down with no smite and just playing around this bot lane that, frankly, is just popping the hell off.
Yeah, sometimes when you start just playing for fun, you can actually end up doing quite well overall. We do, however, see a gank being threatened up top here. Dominus is available, so this dive could be a little bit dangerous if Indigo plays it well.
Yeah, and we do have the Kale ultimate available, though. Swag gonna cancel it with the flag. He can walk in here, still has access to his flash, so he can initiate the play and then get out. Indigo gonna knock, going to try to get the root. Nope, Kale ultimate's gonna come down, doesn't use Dominus, is gonna get killed off by Exile, and Swag gonna escape with his life. Might not have even had to flash, but you know what? It doesn't even matter. The kill goes down. Vampiric Narwhal on the other side of the map. Gonna get taken down. Has to flash away from Beyond Atlas, but the Spirit Rush is gonna be enough. Check Your Minimap goes down like nothing. He must have been tanking turret with no HP. Goes down instantly. Beyond Glycis stuck between a rock and a hard place. Attila going to take tower aggro. No, Dion Atlas has it. Flashes out. Gives aggro to Moonlight, though. Moonlight being forced to use Wild Growth to survive, and Moonlight is gonna survive with a sliver of HP. Attila looking huge, and Dion Atlas is even benefiting from these plays bot lane.
Yeah, I love this for Hyperion. Sure, you have a weird scenario here, but you're playing to your advantage. You know Attila is big, so just commit all your resources down there. Make use of that power point to feed the rest of the map. And now, Dion fairly large at 2-0-2, down only a single wave, despite it doesn't feel like having been in lane hardly at all because of all these roams. And even Check Your Minimap, you know, has some components, is kind of keeping up here in terms of pressure. Absolutely isn't going to be as valuable as Swag is already 2 levels down, but at the end of the day, still perhaps a little bit more useful than Vampiric at this point.
Yeah, and I mean, there is a world where this Kale that is sitting on 1-0-0, the most CS in the game, has the potential to be a hyper carry here. And I mean, it's not something that's unheard of. 1.3k down, you're not completely out of the game yet, and you have a smite where the enemy team doesn't, but you need to start looking into making plays around this smite advantage. You need to pressure the neutral objectives on repeat. You've got a Rift Herald coming up any moment now. Definitely play around that stuff, or you're gonna let a Jinx that's already ahead scale for free. So yeah, I mean,
I think a lot of that pressure has to lie at the feet of Swag. Admittedly, you know, it's a little bit hard to get into the mindset of, oh, I don't have an enemy jungler, but part of being a jungler is recognizing and reacting to unusual situations, reading the map and making use of what's there. And I feel like he could be leading his team to be doing a much better job. I mean, look at the minimap. Right now, BDE is losing the tempo game around these next grubs. They're going to lose the next neutral just because Hyperion is playing better in terms of the macro game.
Yeah, and we talked about it in the a lot of the analysis this season that these mid laners are incredibly pivotal for these top teams, and Dion Atlas proving why she's one of the best in the league. She's been constantly in one of the side lanes and absolutely abusing the priority here. And just as you say that, Exile being hit by a Super Mega Death Rocket, going to try to flash away, but Spirit Rush is still available. Dion Atlas coming over the wall, doesn't have another charm, but Exile is stuck between Dion Atlas. Going to be able to walk away, but that's a lane that's being abandoned here, and a lane swap coming out for Hyperion to try to force down top turret here and get control of Rift Herald.
And check your minimap, continuing to exert pressure here with Indigo, who has a huge level advantage. Vampiric Narwhal, no mana, can't fight this out. I mean, this should be an easy win fight for Hyperion, right?
Yeah, unless the teleport comes in. Teleport channeling, Beyond Glycis trying to reset the play, but Exile walking in is going to shred down. Check your minimap. He has absolutely no gold and nothing in the pocket, but on the backside of that, Indigo actually gets the slice and dice to finish off the kill, and that's going to be a 1-for-1 despite burning Exile's TP. Dragon is up, but Hyperion has control over the Rift Herald now.
Yeah, and it's a 1-for-1, but it drew Exile to the bot side, which means that Jinx was fully able to take first turret from basically full health on the top side. Gets the Rift Herald as well, so we'll be able to break another turret. This Jinx is just utterly enormous. A 2,500 gold lead there, which more than offsets the 1,300 gold deficit in the jungle.
Yeah, and it's going to get broken open.
As long as somebody picks up this eye.
Ari? Zinzao? Guys?
Hello?
We're just going to sit here, folks. We're going to sit.
Yeah, we're just going to watch. I don't even care what's happening. I see Kale pushing. It doesn't matter. Goodbye, Rift Herald. Nice knowing ya! Anyways, so that was a little bit of gold in Jinx's pocket. Hyperion is currently up 1,500 gold despite not having a smite and blundering Rift Herald, everybody.
This is playoffs, right? These are the good teams.
These are the playoff teams, that's correct.
What have we gotten ourselves into, Dory?
Keep in mind, whoever wins this game, very likely playing against Rev Regalia. And if you guys haven't seen Rev Regalia play with their starting bot lane, as Rift Herald, not Rift Herald, what am I saying? As Swag comes in with the Flag and Drag, Attila being forced to flash out. Good flash reaction from Attila, actually.
Yeah, great reaction time. I mean, Attila has been just playing on a knife's edge this entire game and has done so very well, so shouldn't be particularly surprising that they're doing a good job of it here.
Yeah, I mean, we're only 1,000 gold down.
Pando.
Like, it's 9-3. Pando, good flash. Spirit Rush coming out. Super Mega Death Rocket going to land, but actually almost gets Dion Atlas on the backside of this, but Attila going to be able to auto-attack this tower. Out comes Swag. Minions are almost dead. Charm doesn't land. And blue turret actually going to get destroyed. So keep in mind, yeah, they're behind, but BDE has a really, really big Gale right now.
Yeah, this Kale from Exile, and this was what we were worried about, right? You hit that scaling point, and sure, Renekton does well in the early game. Renekton bullies the heck out of Kale, but she stays safe. She farms with E and Q, she gets maybe a little bit of help from Swag, and at the end of the day, once she hits that level 6 point, the lane just completely turns around, and Indigo is never able to apply pressure if he hasn't already dominated.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Indigo being stuck here. We've got the ultimate coming down from Swag, but Attila almost actually turns it around. Moonlight with the Wild Growth isn't going to be able to keep Attila alive for quite long enough. Dion can clean up this wave, but I mean, that's not good. That's a big shutdown going over to the side of BDE, and it looks like it went into Pando's pocket.
Yeah, it does admittedly go to the brand who hasn't had a whole lot of impact on the map so far, so it could be worse. For instance, if it had gone into Kale's pocket, the Kale who is already in the middle of building a Rabadon's, which is a little bit problematic.
Yeah, let's talk about real quick Smolder's stacks, because we don't care about Smolder's gold. Smolder's got an item. What's Smolder got for stacks? 103? It's 175 now, right? Or 275? 275 is the like big breaking point, right? He becomes an Elder Dragon.
Yes, I believe so. As Attila's
We
caught
actually
again.
have Attila getting caught again. Yep, Attila getting caught again. Trying to throw his lead as best as he can. Vianclysis getting onto Lulu, but she's able to flash to safety here. And Attila dying mid again is a really good look for BDE. If they stall this game out, like, Kale Smolder can do work.
Yeah. I apologize. I'm having power flickers in my apartment, so let's hope that the stream doesn't go down at any point.
Yeah, that being said, I'm going to whip out my OBS just in case it goes down, okay?
Sounds good. Yeah, I'm not
If we
sure if
lose
you
our
can see
producer,
on
we'll go live again.
I'm not sure if you can see on Parsec, but my screens are having a fucking aneurysm right now. Pardon my French.
It's alright, I won't tell anybody.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Hey, everyone in chat, shut up.
He said heck. Heck Billy.
Yeah,
Heck
exactly.
Billy, everybody. Can I get some heck Billies in the chat while we work on this? Anyways, I'm opening up BOL production just in case
Yeah.
I have to go live.
We hope it stays steady,
I'm
but we shall see.
Anyways, we've got the game still going on. Vampiric Narwhal sitting on 110 CS, finally getting into the game, has a Essence Reaver. Honestly, 2 items on Pando, really big, good 2 items. Ultimate being used, really good ultimate actually coming out from Vianclysis to cleanse that charm. Keeps him alive, honestly, because there's a good chance that he dies there.
Yeah, is a
But-
little bit awkward here with both neutrals spawning on top of each other. Means that he'll have a whole lot less combat power, but at the end of the day, survival does make it a little bit easier to set up.
That is absolutely right. And
Vino? Ooh, good dodge there. Good sidestep.
Good job. Barely escaped with their life.
It does cost the flash from Exile as well, though, which is a little bit awkward here. Means that you can't use that ultimate to buy enough time to flash out. They still have pressured Hyperion away from this Drake, though, so might just barely be enough pressure, and admittedly, can't have a steal from Check Your Minimap if he doesn't have Smite.
That is absolutely right. They've actually gotten onto the dragon here. So we've got a Cloud Drake coming down, and people like to clown on the Clown Drake and all that, but kills, I'm gonna say it again. Clown Drake has the highest win rate as the Cataclysm comes down. Gonna be able to lock them down, being polymorph just so you can delay a little bit longer, but Check Your Minimap gonna go down. Moonlight going down on the side. Attila being killed as well. Double kill coming down for Pandora. And that is going to be priority over the Baron now for BDE. You've got Indigo pushing towards bot lane. Going to be able to take this bot outer still in response. But do they pressure Baron here? Or do they push their vision forward?
Looks like they're going for vision for now. They may look for that Baron at some other point, but Dion's still on the map, still available, and Vampiric doesn't exactly have a ton of combat stats, still only at that 1 item point, so very difficult for them to actually start shredding through the Baron's health bar at this point, especially with Baron's gaze on them. It becomes so difficult to fight when you burned everything already to get Attila down.
Yeah, and that being said, Attila still going down 4-3-2, still has a little bit of an advantage, and Dion playing incredibly well not to throw her advantage. But Pando is very quickly catching up. Kale has a 450 gold bounty, despite having not a massive amount of impact on the overall kill score. But she's level 14. You're hitting the point of no return in 2 levels, and there's nothing Indigo is able to do about it anymore.
Yeah, Indigo behind on items, behind on pressure. Kale feeling so good that she went for a Rabadon's item 2. That's a lot of I am untouchable at this point energy, and I think it's completely correct. There's nothing that can happen to kill Exile at this point, short of them just right-clicking on base and turning off their monitor.
That's absolutely right. Like, Exile outranges everyone but Attila at full range, and Exile can pop everybody, including a... That was a flash.
That sure was.
All right. I think we think it's the old map. Sorry. Just so everybody knows, you can't flash that.
Hey, it could have been that Vianclysis thought it was Hex Flash.
That's entirely possible. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Vianclysis had themselves a pretty rough start. They have had some impact. They're going on Trailblazer now. Good beefy Alistar. And there's still potential there. The stun coming out from Indigo, gonna try to slice in, but does not get the dice, is gonna be kited away by Exile, sitting on red buff, gonna do a ton of damage. Check your mini map, gonna try to turn in here, but Exile might be able to use Kale Ultimate to stun. No, actually good CC layering from Indigo, and check your mini map, and on the opposite side of the map, Jarvan gonna go down. Super Mega Death Rocket gonna finish him off, but the return kill coming down, shutdown going against the Lulu here. And Pando, 4-0-2, looking pretty huge. Dion Atlas, despite dying just now, still looking pretty huge. And this is turning into quite the slugfest, isn't it, Alls?
Yeah, this is not how we expected this game to go when we heard, hey, there's a jungler without smite. But great job from Hyperion to stick in it, and even better job from BDE to be aware of how to come back after a really rough early game, as Venoclysis just went a little too far with that Hex Flash, my friend.
Yeah, a little bit
Oh
too far.
no, the fail flash too from Pando.
Oh, Pando is still taking tower aggro. Indigo trying to kite him out, but he's gonna survive. No, the flash! Oh, Pando failing the flash over the wall, and that's gonna be a shutdown going down to Jinx. Double kill for the Jinx. And Attila just playing this game on a knife's edge, constantly deciding, I want to be dead. I want to be fed. I want to be dead. I want to be fed. Right now, he wants to be fed, and we're gonna see what they're gonna transition this into.
Yeah, looking to put pressure around this Drake with 60 seconds until it spawns. I'm a little bit surprised that they didn't look to transition that catch in the blue buff jungle directly into a Baron, but I suppose the capacity for a steal was just too high.
Yeah, Baron Steel definitely still is on the board, especially since you don't have access to Smite. You really have to get... You were talking about never mind, BDE. They have a Smite. BDE does have a smite. So
Bye, Venoclysis.
Bye, Venoclysis. He's dead. Oh wait, is he dead? Has access to the ultimate, right?
I believe your Parsec stream is about 6 seconds behind.
Looks like, yeah. Yep.
Indigo is also caught out here.
Indigo.
Gonna go down.
Yep, 2 gonna go down. And we're back in line. I'm looking at the correct stream now. Mid lane Prio going to be taken by Hyperion. Good decision here. Pushing for this mid tower, trading it for the dragon. If they can actually get this, despite losing a player there, this is actually going to work out just fine for them.
They didn't even get
BDE
Drake.
Trying to collapse here.
That's really expensive for BDE.
They're going to prevent the mid tower from coming down. Yeah, we'll see if they can get mid-prio back and just take the dragon, but that gives Indigo time to come back. And this is a good rotation from Hyperion. This is a good decision. They're going to pull them around the different towers here and prevent them from taking dragon. Eventually, Swag is going to take the dragon solo, and Exile is going to try to respond with a bot tower. But Hyperion, all things considered, this is a good decision if you guys can get out. Channel coming down. Theonclysis fails the headbutt pulverize and is going to walk away. No polymorph available for Moonlight, but check your mini-map in Moonlight, keeping Attila alive. They took a tower in response to Exile taking bot tower. And all things considered, yeah, it was an overall losing play. But they made do. They made a good decision there.
Yeah, they got good chunk onto the mid tier 2. They got the top tier 2 completely. I mean, they're keeping the pressure on the map overall, and there's a reason that the gold difference is only 500, despite there being a Flame Horizon in that mid lane, or jungle, rather.
Yeah, I mean, check your minimap at this point is a second support. Just funnel as much gold and resources as you can into Indigo and Attila, and hope for the best. Pocket your mid-jungle ADC, or mid-top ADC.
I mean, to be fair, that's what you expect a jungler to turn into at the end of the day anyway, with the 4-1s, with the 1-3-1s, just another floating support to make sure everybody stays okay. He just had to transition into it a little bit earlier than most folks would expect.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how I feel about being in this situation and actively still choosing to go, like, the lethality build. I almost would just, like, understand that I'm low budget, buy low budget items that provide me frontline access, or, like, frontline capabilities, but I don't know, maybe that's me.
Or
I think check your minimap might just be built different.
Full, like, Rakan style build, Locket of the Iron Solari, Knight's Vow, your job is just to be a secondary health tank for Attila kind of build. Although I guess that's perhaps
Yeah, I
more
mean,
Leona than Rakan.
yeah, I mean, being in that kind of situation, you kind of have to just like buy whatever is accessible to you, and I think the build that he's going for is just a tad too expensive given he has like a low income. If he had had a big impact, like if he'd gotten like 2-3 ganks off right at the start and then snowballed that into like using prio with the laner that he pockets to get priority and then invade enemy jungle, like denying enemy jungle camps despite being worth less because neither of you have smite is still probably fine. But because you didn't do either of that, you let Swag just farm, and then you just leached off of your lanes, and then tried to buy high econ items. Like, Xin already falls off really hard. You're making him fall off even harder.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll have to see whether that actually has an effect here, or whether Check Your Minimap is able to pilot it well enough to make it work. Oh
Yeah,
no,
I mean,
Moonlight.
at the yeah, Moonlight being caught mid yet again. Beyond Clysis, Headbutt Pulverize coming down. Gonna be forced to flash, but Flag and Drag is gonna finish it off, and Swag gonna actually take the kill. Vampiric Narwhal is probably screaming for a kill, but Check Your Minimap in response. Gonna get caught out of position by Exile. And that is a fed KO. Dion Atlas onto the side. Ultimate coming down for Vampiric Narwhal. Flash coming out into the Cataclysm. Dion Atlas able to charm to safety. Indigo off to the side. Keep a look at Indigo. He's gonna try to escort Dion Atlas to safety, but this is going to turn into a potential Baron. Beyond Clysis tanking it up, Swag tanking it up as well. Big Baron AoE, and we're going to cast a team fight between Baron and BDE because Beyond Clysis and Swag are trying their best to lose the team fight to Baron, guys. 4,000 HP, 3,000, 2,000, 1,000, and that is a Baron for BDE Corruption, and the gold difference is finally starting to show.
And you know, if this were any other game, we'd be talking about the fact that Smite was really late and stealable.
Yeah, but, yeah. Hey, his Ignite's off cooldown, guys. He can ignite somebody.
It's fine. If the enemy jungler is dead, they can't Smite.
Yeah, absolutely. Just kill him! Just kill him. So like I was saying, Xin Zhao Ultimate is, like, a useful tool in these fights. Like, it definitely can be a difference maker for Jinx. And given the amount of range on BDE, it's like not unrealistic for Zen to use it effectively. But if Swag or Beyond Clysis jump on him, then it's problematic. So like I think Check Your Minimap can be useful. Oh, I've been asked for a Smolder stack update. Is he an Elder Drake yet?
Nope.
Nope. 75 stacks off. Narwhal, super famished.
He is still technically playing League of Legends, but only just.
Yeah, and Attila's very fed. So like there is this game is still on a knife's edge. It's 3 Drakes. You're sitting on Soul Point coming up for BDE, and they're trying to get access to the river. But take a look at Exile on the opposite side of the map. He's not channeling teleport. The fight coming in. Smolder ultimate off to the side. Narwhal trying to fight 1v2, but Dion Atlas with the charm onto the flank. Pandorum gonna drop down the ultimate, flash out. Indigo staying alive, but Swag's actually gonna go down. Good fight coming out from them. Exile trying to split push as hard as he can. He has access to the Baron. They're going to force a base here, but Dion Atlas going to actually take down the Alistar. Vampiric Narwhal trying to kite it out. Check Your Minimap. Flash coming down from Attila, and they've chosen to take this fight. Are they going to be able to get the base off? No. Moonlight trying to solo protect the base, and they're actually going to try to go for the dragon here. Dion Atlas going to try to protect the tower, but he's not going to be able to. She's not going to be able to. Indigo coming alive. Is it going to be the game? Exile being stunned down is forced to drop the ultimate. Indigo trying to kite down, but Pandorum and Exile doing enough damage. Oh, Exile's actually going to go down. Charm comes down. Indigo going to go down as well. And Pando going to burn Dion Atlas. This ace coming out for Hyperion and a dragon. This game is still not over, alls.
What in the world, Dory? How did that not end the game? That was so incredibly greedy from Hyperion. Attila, the strongest member on the map, not returning to deal with Exile, leaving it to Dion and Indigo, and it worked. That's the most disgusting thing about it all. They got the Drake, they saved the base. I mean, yeah, that Nexus is exposed. It's incredibly possible for Exile to TP in to a sneaky ward and just run straight to this Nexus, which is incredibly exposed. But at the end of the day, that's as good as that could have gone for Hyperion.
Yeah, and Vampiric Narwhal needs to be the hero that they need, but not the one they deserve at this point, because the player is absolutely useless right now. Once this Smolder is a champion, the game is much more winnable. Pando having a fantastic game, I think building well. Kale, despite me not understanding the gank coming out for Swag, gonna force to flag him, drag away. Flash coming out to survive, but Exile, 3 autos, Dion Atlas. That's gameplay for you right there. Cataclysm coming out to finish off the kill on to check your minimap, and Hyperion stuck again. Exile looking really strong, forcing the split push here. Can Jinx and Lulu defend mid in the meantime? Indigo definitely not going to be able to defend his base.
Yeah, Exile is full build. This game is over.
Yeah, Exile's going to be able to end this game if they don't make a swift decision right here. But Flag and Drag going to come out? No. Cataclysm available. Indigo trying to stay alive. Pocket Moonlight. Exile actually going to be polymorphed down. And Indigo jumping onto the flank with his ultimate. Attila's going to finish the kill. Exile being forced to run away isn't going to be able to kill Attila because Moonlight's pocketing him. Beyond Crisis and Vampiric Narwhal going to try to take the Nexus here. Can Beyond Crisis zone out Attila? They're going to turn and try to take the fight instead, but check your minimap going to help finish him off. Attila staying alive, doesn't die to the Elder buff from the Smolder. Smolder must have hit 275, and that's going to be a return kill here. Hyperion still showing signs of life. Check your minimap. Showing signs of maybe being a champion this game.
Yeah, I've put them in the casket twice. I've had them buried into the ground, and they've started banging on that lid. What in the world is this? Incredible survival instincts from Hyperion to keep this game just barely alive. Now, though, they have 3 exposed inhibitors. 2 of them are down. And this
no
next push has to be the end, right?
Yeah, I mean, Exile. There's a world where Exile finishes, but look, nobody dropped a ward.
He's got no TP.
Nearby. Like, there's no TP. There's no base. I mean, Pando can try to do it. Like, Pando's got good AP. He's about to finish a death cap. Like, he can hit the Nexus really hard, but just keep in mind, structure damage scales with AP now. So your autos on structures scale with AP. So like, Pando will do a lot of damage to a Nexus per auto, but Moonlight gonna be headbutted away, and it looks like they're thinking of flipping the game on Baron instead of trying to just take the base.
Nah, Exile's just sprinting for it.
Oh, there we go. Exile going on a run, trying to clear the wave. Fight coming out, though, onto the other side. Swag, Flag, and dragging away. They're trying to stall for as long as they can. Pando barely alive. Cataclysm comes out. Attila is legendary. Attila's trying to get himself a quadra kill. That's going to be a triple kill. That's going to be a triple kill coming out, but the game is going to end for Exile because of the free base race. Good decision, Hyperion. You made the right decision there, but unfortunately, your base was just stuck in a really bad position.
Yeah, it was just too far gone at that point. There was just too much that Exile was doing, and I almost want to take a look at his damage to structures here, because it feels like Kale basically won that game on the side. There wasn't... I don't think we need to, say that the rest of the map wasn't doing anything, because clearly Swag and Pando were holding their own, but at the end of the day, that was the Exile show that kept that game from being a Hyperion win despite everything.
Yeah, no, I wholeheartedly agree. I think Exile is the core, reason that game was winnable. And unfortunately, check your minimap was also part of the reason. He did his best despite not having Smite. And this Jinx bot lane was so far ahead, and they just stalled the game out mid-game to just ignore their lead. They just push mid blank, and then BDE punishes it. And that is the cardinal ADC sin, to just be caught mid doing nothing.
Yeah, just really, really unfortunate there. Thoughts on game 2 though, Dory, as we move fairly quickly here, since this is a best of 5.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think Hyperion has a good chance if they're not griefing with the Smite thing. He's got lethal tempo for some reason. Maybe that's the thing you do. I don't think so, but I think in draft could have been good. I think they could have snowballed out of control. I think they just need to get their lead, hold their lead, and make good plays around their lead, because they're stalling out games instead of playing around the person that just gets super fed right off the bat.
Makes a whole lot of sense. Well, folks, we are going to step aside for just a couple of minutes, let these teams get prepped for Game 2, and when we come back, Hyperion, take Smite this time. We'll see you then.
Hello, everybody. This is Dory, and all's back once again. This stream's sponsored by the Smite Key. And that's it. That's all.
See, here's the thing. Clearly, Smite is based on, like, lightning striking from the heavens, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they just skipped lightning in game, and they're smiting me IRL. So, you know, I think it was just a trade-off from Hyperion here. But moving into Game 2 draft, and very little change in bans. Kog'Maw Milio, immediate slam from BDE, though.
I like this response more. I like
spicy.
this way more than last game. I like to see the Fuemigo. They know they're going to try to pocket Jinx by throwing an Enchanter, a Lulu, a Janna, like their usual drafts. They're going to try to pocket Jinx. So all you have to do in response is pocket Kog'Maw, give him infinite range. You've got the Bio-Arcane Barrage, his W, actually is going to outrange Fishbones with the use of Milio's W. So that actually, I think, is a good pivot. I think this is a good idea. This is scary.
Okay. Jesus. I like Nocturne in theory. I'm a little bit scared of Nocturne here on B3 when jungler mid and top are still available to counter him. And Sejuani.
Sejuani's a good answer. Sejuani's a very good answer if you pair it with like melee. Now we know Pando's capable of playing that kind of stuff. We know Exile is capable of playing the kind of stuff that's going to complement Sejuani well. And I think Kog'Maw offers like good mixed damage profiles that you could afford to go like an AD option. Like you could go like a Renekton or an Aatrox or something like that.
You know what I'd love to see here? I'd love to see Galio. Galio mid. Protect the Kog'Maw.
Galio would be dope.
Feed into that. Pair with the Sejuani very well. Take pressure off the Kog'Maw with the taunt so Nocturne doesn't get to exist. It just feels like a win-win-win.
Yeah, and I mean Nocturne can't fully spell shield Galio because he can only block one of the 2 CCs that he's going to throw on you. So if you're forced to spell shield the Shield of Durand, then he's immediately going to E. So like,
yeah, and admittedly, Justice Punch has a long windup, but
Pando, stop it!
No,
surely
no.
that's not Kog'Maw mid. Come on, stop trolling. There you go.
Okay.
Switch to Vygar.
Eh.
Susceptible to ganks of Nocturne in an ideal world. In IBS, Nocturne into Vygar hasn't worked particularly well. IBSG. The Vygar typically wins in this league. It's not really supposed to, but it does for some reason because the games go forever.
Yeah, the answer is funny button.
How long was last game? Like 42 minutes?
Yeah, it was 36 minutes for some reason.
Yeah. Now, we're going to see if Pando can stack a little bit better than Narwhal, because those stacks of phenomenal
Victor is the call here.
We'll get Victor?
Yeah, we'll get that on screen for you guys here in just a moment.
Yeah, Victor's a good response, I think.
Yeah, I don't hate it. You scale, I scale. We scale, comrade.
Yeah, and I mean, it complements Nocturne well. It might not kill Vygar, but it's certainly going to pressure Vygar off the wave. And Cassante. This is definitely like a pocket Jinx comp. I'm not too offended by this. I actually don't see a Shen ban, and Shen is definitely an Indigo special. Like, whenever I asked him to play a tank, he said Shen or nothing. His answers were Shen and Quinn, actually. So, I mean, I think this is better. I'm glad to see that he plays Cassante. I didn't even know he plays Cassante. So, I also don't know how the matchup goes with Mordekaiser.
Yeah, I think it's a fine matchup, only because Cassante just is fine into everything. But at the same time, I don't love the Mordekaiser here, frankly. I feel like it's a little bit weird. You take away Cassante, sure, but that also takes away a lot of your frontline from BDE, because then you're entirely reliant on the Sej. I would have much rather had a more traditional tank that can focus on locking down Cassante and someone else.
Yeah. One thing that is nice is you put the onus of build on Jinx. Jinx has to build QSS. Lulu can't build Mikhail's anymore.
True.
But I'm not sure that matters. And Milio is a walking Mikhail's for Kog'Maw, so that's pretty dope.
Yeah, this is not as bad as game 1, where BDE just drafted themselves into a corner.
Yeah, no, this draft is a lot better. They kind of like gave counterpick left and right to them, and then they didn't utilize it. I think Sejuani doesn't like hard stomp Nocturne, but I think Sejuani has a more clearly defined role early game than Nocturne.
But she also just hard wins the duels in jungle, right? With Frostbite.
Yeah, early on, absolutely, yeah.
I mean, yeah, before Nocturne
kinda,
hits 6, you just invade,
yeah,
slam.
yeah. I mean, timing on the spell shield's really important, basically. Like I think he can win if he spell shields Frostbite. But again, like most skirmishes aren't 1v1 in comp, so
True, true.
I think priority still is going to be in favor of whichever bot lane plays around range better and mana gates. So Jinx is kind of mana reliant to like spam Fishbones, and Kog'Maw players tend to just like use all their mana without noticing. So we'll see which bot lane has prio at the right time. So what do you think about like the early clear, I guess? Like what do we expect to be the priority for these junglers?
I mean, for Nocturne, obviously, it's just 6 camp. Take your 6 camp, get your Scuttler, and move on, because you don't have a ton of gank set up early. Jinx, Lulu, they win or lose on their own devices. If you happen to be there for a counter gank, you're there for a counter gank. Victor, again, just wants to scale, doesn't have a ton. Cassante, you're playing into Mordekaiser. Again, don't really win that 1v2 even. So you want to get that level 6, you want to focus on that. Sejuani, though, I think there's good angles here, specifically into both mid and bottom, because, as you said, the Jinx Lulu is going to be a little bit vulnerable because of the mana issues, because of having to step up more to push that lane the way they want to. It's going to leave some angles open for Sejuani to get behind, and Victor, much the same, especially if those event horizons come down well, force out the flash early even, could give the chance for a repeat gank, 2 camps, 3 camps into directly coming back.
Yeah, absolutely. That said, one positive thing I could say is like a lot of why people are concerned about Victor right now in the meta overall is because the champion's very like reliant on getting those hex core stacks in order to be useful, like those hex core upgrades. But I think the way Dion has been playing kind of just benefits the Victor playstyle. Dion has been incredibly active in the side lanes, much more than Pando so far this series. And Pando's been playing more like stationary mages instead of like more of like the cheesy things that he plays where he likes to impact side lanes and stuff. Look at you, Twitch player. Get out of here.
Yeah, I mean, as much as roaming is nice, though, on the Victor, because you want that farm so desperately, and because you don't have much mobility, it's a little bit harder to get down there. You have to be much more coordinated. You have to be a little bit more proactive and a little bit more obvious about when you move. So there'll be more opportunities for BDE to actually respond to it as well.
Yeah, so we'll see if BDE can kind of control the snowball in the bot lane and then start to properly rotate onto objectives early. And we'll see if Hyperion's jungler decides to bring Smite this game. So with that being said, I think we're getting pretty close to our spectator delay. So we're going to go to a break and we're going to get into game 2. Is BDE going to set us on match point, or is Hyperion going to make it a series? See you soon. we're back, Blue Otter League. How's everybody doing? We are on the Rift. BDE trying to take it to 2-0, and Hyperion, check your mini-map, rocking a smite this game. Let's go, alls.
Woo! We can actually play League of Legends. This is a good
Oh.
sign here, Dory.
Yeah, I think Dion might be a little checked out. You can see her just kind of realizing, oh wait, I'm not in the 5-point spot. Jungler, Indigo and Exile actually trying to smack each other. Indigo says, I just do not give a shit anymore, and he's hitting him. Exile though,
wins
has
this.
the passive ticking. Yeah, Exile's 100% going to win this. The passive coming down, he's going to be able to kite him out. Gonna try to land the final Q. Is he going to get it? Indigo trying to strafe, but first blood coming down for Exile here.
Yeah, so not a fan of the Mordekaiser in general in this draft, but when Mordekaiser is already fed before minions spawn, alright, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I mean, that was quite the blunder coming down from Indigo. So we're going to see how Hyperion respond in kind, if they're able to turn this around, or if they're going to continue to let the mental effects of the mishaps, we'll call them, of game one.
Yeah, Pando unfortunately still has no AP.
Pando still does not have any AP. Ooh.
Gotta hit those Qs, my friend.
What? Oh, he's missing his stacks. Okay. Sorry.
he missed like 4 onto Dion in the first minutes of the game.
Oh no. So, that being said, what do we look to see happen here? Do we have Swag transitioning is clear? Yes, he's going to go for at least Blue Grump Red. He might go for a full clear here. And Vampiric Narwhal standing in the back line of the minions. Why do you think this bot lane is going so poorly for Narwhal and brain farting?
Attila and Moonlight have just had significantly better positioning than Veneclysis and Narwhal here, and I think Attila has been able to make great use of those early rockets, as Narwhal seems to have a propensity for just standing in his own minions, even when it's very, very inadvisable to. Dion might be in a little bit of trouble here, as Pando has baited him very deep.
Yeah, but Swag actually just whiffing the Q. The true demon thought that there was a third player in this lane. Tried to Q nothing. Dion Atlas gonna survive the play without even having to burn her flash.
That's a little bit of an unforced error there. A whoopsie from Swag, who otherwise would have almost certainly locked down, well, second blood at this point.
Yeah. Second blood almost going down, and Dion Atlas gonna get out of it pretty well. We should actually see Narwhal going for the cull start here. I was saying that I thought that Kog'Maw Emilio goes pretty hard here and can outrange Attila, but I think Attila, as much as I love to give him credit, as much as I hate to give him credit for literally anything, he's playing well.
My gosh!
The flash! The flash kill going down for Moonlight doesn't even have to burn the ignite, but Veonclysis trying to turn the play around, gonna have to walk away, has the W, has the range extension, could have used that the entire fight unless it was on cooldown and I didn't notice, but that's a kill going down for Moonlight. Moonlight playing great so far, as the top side has a play going as well.
Yeah.
Swag here supporting Exile to get the wave crash.
Yeah, the bot lane of Hyperion has just been incredible. Both games of this series so far, really on top of it, really exerting their will, especially around this Jinx. As Dion looking to get reganked here, Pando puts the Event Horizon down. This might be trouble, forces the flash.
Baby Cage, I'm gonna just do a little bit of work, and as we push past the 420 mark, kills are dead even. You have the first blood and advantage of Exile, but the lead that we're slowly starting to see accumulate for Dion Atlas, and the lead we've seen accumulate for this bot lane of Hyperion, could spell a little bit of early game danger if we let it get out of hand.
Yeah, I gotta see a little bit more out of Vampiric and Veneclysis here in terms of stabilizing, and perhaps it's time for Swag to start paying a little bit of attention down here. Come for a gank, even if it's just to relieve pressure. Let Vampiric and Veneclysis farm up a little bit. Get some good damage down now, though, is that W and range extension combo finally coming out. But, boy, it took them a while to figure out how to hit those buttons in that order.
Yeah. As Vampiric Narwhal is forced to walk away in base, the near crash is going to work out. Attila and Moonlight not going to go for the freeze or anything like that. They're going to go ahead and opt to let it slow. Narwhal, buddy, are you going to base?
He's only got 700. He can't really buy anything.
No? We're just going to stand in no man's land instead? Alright. Well, at least Milio got something. Oh, got a CS.
Hey, you know, it's
Hey.
stacking that coal. That's what's important.
Yeah. We actually have Nocturne getting pinged on the map. Sit level 5. 6 CS up on the Sejuani. Good ward positioning. I like that it tracks the clear towards bot side here. Gonna do a great job of protecting Attila.
Yeah, Exile is managing a little bit of the same on the top side, though, getting that nice control ward in deep, and I really would like to see Minimap hit that level 6 point before he starts to worry about pressure, but we'll go ahead and do this top for bot trade, giving over the grubs to BDE once again in exchange for this Drake. How do you feel about this trade, Dory? Are you on Team Grub or Team Dragon?
I think that dragons are contextual and team comp matters. I don't think that the BDE composition we're looking at is particularly good at abusing grubs as an advantage, unless Exile is enabled heavily. So if the grubs are going to be taken and we're going to prioritize grubs, I want to see full commitment. I want to see support for Pando, so Pando can rotate on them, and then I want to see them rotate for a dive on like a double wave crash top tower, so that they can abuse Indigo even more. Indigo's already down 20, almost 20, 10 CS now. Indigo's caught up in CS here a little bit. He was down 20 before catching most of that wave, which admittedly is kind of impressive. But yeah, Exile looking really good here, but Exile's lead needs to be expanded upon if they're going to play around these grubs. Otherwise, Dragon can get out of control if Hyperion actually rolls a good Dragon.
Absolutely. Chemtech off the table, Ocean off the table, but crucially, Hextech and Infernal are both on, and those would both be incredible for Dion and Attila here, as both of those champs make great use of the attack steroids, and frankly, even Mountain wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, giving you a little bit more survivability if you get taken to Brazil here.
SMH my head, we're ignoring Clown Dragon again. Nobody loves my boy Clown Dragon.
Hey,
I've been the highest win rate soul in the game.
I love bringing out that stat too, my friend, but
at kills.
Yeah, it's not the end of the.
So yeah, so Cloud. Cloud is good at making rotations around the map, but Mountain, that shield is incredibly valuable, especially given. You know what? I think the value of Mountain's a little bit lower given their compositions this game. Because I think that both teams are playing very heavily around like consistent DPS in team fights, so like the shield's not a huge deal. And I think Pando's gonna get to a point where he can burst right through it, to be completely honest. So yeah. I don't think Mountain would be huge for either team, but I think the other three are pretty valuable.
Yeah, if you're worried about Mountain, it's entirely for that extra half second of survivability in the Death Realm. Or from a mini-map, check your mini-map paranoia. It's not going to be for the, everyone is getting value out of it. It's one particular target is.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing like a much more contested Drake, because I think it'll make this game more interesting. Can I go with that?
That's fair.
All right. So yeah, cheers. Three cheers for a Infernal Drake, all right? Or Hextech. We can go with Hextech.
3 cheers for maybe a gank here from Swag is looking for it, as Attila's a little bit far forward.
Yeah, we have the flash coming out, gonna force the matching flash from Attila. Now keep in mind, Nocturne drops down the Paranoia. Amelia ult's gonna come in response. Wild Growth gonna come up. Swag and Minimap gonna have themselves a little fist fight, but Narwhal actually kiting this fight out pretty well. Narwhal gets the return kill here on the backside. Gonna try to go for Moonlight here and then turn on the Jinx, but no, the Jinx actually gonna take down Beyond here. The kill isn't gonna go over to Narwhal. Maybe he can kill Moonlight. No, Moonlight gonna survive with the shield, and that's a double kill for Attila. This Jinx looking huge, 2 games in a row, and a solo kill for Pandorum. You spammed that laugh, little gray wizard.
That's pretty nasty here on all sides. I mean, first off, Pando getting a solo kill isolated on the other side because Dion went a little bit too deep is real unfortunate for the Victor, who had pretty good wave control, had pretty good power over this lane, and now has lost a whole lot of that agency as Pando has a little bit of a lead. But on the bot side, Swag and Narwhal just can't finish the job, and Minimap, now that he's actually been able to jungle, has found that first gank, and that's so incredibly crucial on the Nocturne. Once you get that first paranoia off, you really are off to the races as long as it goes well.
Yeah, and good paranoia it was. It absolutely was what they needed. It is what the doctor ordered. When you see Nocturne getting locked in, correct play. Counter gank really well timed against Swag, and Swag just like not able to do anything about it. As we see a grub coming down, so we're not sitting on 6 grubs. We still have the 5 capability. Swag going in, gonna be stuck in between 3 players here, but Dion Atlas not walking in until she has open access. The ultimate gonna come down, check your minimap, has to flash away. Moonlight going there, but the ultimate comes down. Exile takes check your minimap to the Death Realm and finishes off the kill. Gonna turn around Swag onto Dion Atlas. Indigo trying to kite it out, but Swag going low. And the baby cage comes down. Pandorum. Is Pandorum going to ultimate? Yes! The phenomenal evil of Pandorum taking the kill onto the Lulu. And then Indigo going to try to take the fight, though. Dion Atlas trying to survive. The all-out is out, but the passive from Exile is going to be too good. Barely going to survive. Dion Atlas trying to take the trade, though. Baby cage coming down. And Dion going to dance around the inside of the event horizon. Not going to get the kill.
No, but it does stop the Grubs take, and at the end of the day, that's huge for Exile, now with 3 kills in pocket and already able to frontline here. And now with the chance to perhaps pick up a single Grub, that's all you need. They have made it easier, but Minimap immediately back on the moment he respawns, so...
Yeah, I mean, he's still able to get that pressure. I mean, some ultimates are down, but I don't think it's enough to really dissuade you from approaching it.
Yeah, Swag looking for a steal here over the wall, has the smite available, so could just charge in as TP channeled from Exile. This is actually a full commit here from BDE.
Let's see it come down. I actually can't see. Oh, bad.
Well,
No, it's okay. It's my fault. It's my fault. My fault.
Pando now looking for Dion, might get it with a single more baleful strike, and there it is. Pando with the solo kill, does get ulted with the paranoia from Check Your Minimap, but here comes Swag looking to return it onto Check Your Minimap. Does not find the event horizon, does not find the stun, so Minimap gets away, but it keeps Pandorum alive, and now at 3-0-2 is off to the races on this Vigar.
Yeah, and Pando trying to be the hero his team needs 2 games in a row. The brand was looking fantastic last game, and the Vigar yet again looking good now. Now, if only we can get this Kog'Maw back into the game.
Hey, Vampiric isn't quite as far behind as last game. Attila isn't already 4-0-2. And Vampiric at least has a kill in this game. We'll be popping the Cole fairly soon, so should be able to complete first item almost in line with Attila even, which is a huge step up. Maybe in Game 3 he'll actually win an early fight in bot lane.
Yeah, I mean, Bork is a really good spike too, especially considering the composition they're playing against. Good HP stackers in, well, one good HP stacker, I guess, in the Cassante. Good range, good kiting ability, really good sustain. I think Bork's a good item. I think Kog'Maw spikes hard on 2, but I think Bork is going to be a pretty good solid start.
Yeah, it does have to get there though, as Moonlight putting the hurt down on this Kog'Maw with that WQ combo. Fenaclysis might be a little bit far forward. Swag is looking for it and does find the stun onto Attila. Attila forced a Wild Growth to stay alive, but that health running very, very low. Barrage will not be enough. Gets away, but that takes away a lot of the pressure that they were putting down here, Dory.
Yeah, and honestly, we're good to see Vampiric Narwhal start to get a lot more pressure in this lane, feeling a little bit more confident. It was 100% what he needed to get back into this series and play like himself. If we can get all cylinders firing from this BDE team, then we can look at a potential 3-0. But like we said before, Hyperion is not ready to say no. Attila is huge, 2 games in a row. This Jinx might have to get banned if it continues like this, but we'll have to see. Indigo barely dodging out of the drag. Exile not going to be able to secure another kill.
No, but this does put good pressure on the Xante, forces him to farm under turret, and we're starting to see that farming becoming an issue as Indigo down about 25 at this point, and it does free Exile to roam to look for Check Your Minimap to prevent the paranoia from coming out onto Pando, who was forced to run away from an engage in that mid lane. So small victories snowball into big victories here, Dory, especially when it comes from a top laner like Exile, who has really been on point tonight.
Yeah, Exile has been like the major benefactor of most of the plays that occur for BDE. Granted, Pando's been making things happen for himself, but Exile has been core responsible for the global plays that go in their favor, especially when they're losing neutrals.
Now the question becomes, when does this BDE team start transitioning away from standard laning phase and look to find easier avenues for Vampiric Narwhal to get into the game? As Exile getting engaged on pretty heavily here, losing this fight badly as Indigo's got him down under half health. But Mordekaiser brings Xante into the Death Realm, forces the all-out out. Ultimate coming in from Check Your Minimap on the other side of the map. Mordekaiser is shut down, but Check Your Minimap in a little bit of trouble. Will go down to Vampiric Narwhal, picking up those kills he desperately needed, and now Swag on the hunt for Attila. Gets him with the Bola here, forced to flash away. The Event Horizon will not connect, but the charge forward may just be enough. The Flail doing so much to keep Attila locked down. The Primordial Burst will actually finish it off, and that's a shutdown going into Pando's pocket. Venoclysis will die to this Chaos Storm from Dione, but now the Victor in a little bit of a rough spot as the damage from Pando and Vampiric Narwhal coming down in spades. And with no jungler here, no paranoia available, this should be the Ocean Drake going over to BDE Corruption.
Yeah, and I mean, Champ doesn't have Smite. He has Smite, but they don't have Smite. So unfortunately, Check Your Minimap not going to be able to actually smite anything this game, despite having access to the spell. That sounded really stupid. So, yet again we have a lead that is potentially being thrown away. We do have CS advantages, so the gold lead's not too big of a deal. It's only 1.2k, and we actually have Narwhal with a shutdown. We have Pando with a huge shutdown. Now, if we know anything from Attila's last game, it's that people can throw their gold leads very easily. They can throw their leads to these shutdowns. They can be caught lacking in mid lane. So we're going to see lane phase end. We're at 18 minutes, and I expect this to be like a wet noodle fight now. I think Indigo's strong enough, so I'm just going to let it go for a little bit before anything happens, but all out might get procced. Actually, I lied. Here comes Milio. Milio, the ultimate Milio gank with all that CC. Gets the Q off. Indigo getting about 1/3 HP remaining. And Exile going to take the tower. Red team on the other side defeated the Rift Herald. They're going to rotate into the bot side. Lane phase is ending. Mid lane turret goes down in response, but lane phase is finally ending. How is BDE going to transition this lane phase? Are they going to use this lead at all? Or is Hyperion going to find some good picks with Jinx here?
Yeah, Pando's in a little bit of trouble as they're looking to dive with 4 members. Might have recognized it in time and will get out here, but this is seeding that bot tier 1. So that's some extra gold into the pockets of Attila. I do think the job has become significantly easier for BDE now that Vampiric Narwhal is an actual champion. They don't have to just sequester him off to the side in somewhere safe to farm up. They can just say, sure, we'll go ahead and transition to 1-3-1 or 4-1 and be happy with it.
Yeah, that's completely fine. Honestly, they're in a situation where each of these teams are not under a ton of pressure to push. The scaling advantages are pretty even this time, and we're not looking down the barrel of a really, really strong tail this time. So, like, we're not super worried about the situation, right?
No, absolutely not. Especially because you have a champion who's not just guaranteed to continue to fall behind until you reach that level 18 point in the Xinjiao. You can go ahead. You can say, sure, Minimap will transition as planned into an Arbot. We will just transition into a team built around Dione and Phila, and that'll be just fine. Rift Herald being procced here? Where in the world is Sejuani going?
Yeah, as this play comes down, Sejuani going to... Oh, my bad, I tripped.
Sejuani is dragging them back to the Mordekaiser here. This could be a little rough.
All right, I'm back up, and Sejuani actually going to go down. So is Exile. Let's see if they can turn this into anything. Baron is available now. We're at 20 minutes, and they're trying to pressure the mid lane tower in response. But Dion Atlas is going to have enough enough wave clear to deal with this situation. So let's see what happens. Are we going to get this top tower going down for Attila and Moonlight? Most likely, Attila is looking pretty strong on one item and a BF.
Yeah, they don't have a wave,
Next
though,
wave.
so it will take a while.
Yeah, next wave.
Yeah,
Take us away.
The unfortunate part of that next wave mentality is Metaclysis just isn't allowed to walk there. Please, have some respect.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
But the unfortunate part of that next wave mentality is that it does seed the Baron that they otherwise could have taken and gotten that turret and so much more if they had just transitioned directly into that. So, a little bit awkward there. Does seed some of the potential away from that pick onto both Exile and Swag, but at the end of the day, still gold in pocket, still getting this Jinx even more fed, could transition into greater wins in the future. But this is something that we were talking about on the Plat stream last night as well, Dory, of these teams in BOL this season are all playing very defensively. They're playing passively. They don't want to push advantages. They want to go for the guaranteed plays.
Yeah, and I mean that is like a coaching like standard right now is you come in, you tell teams like, hey, you want to take plays that make the most sense, you want to coordinate plays around your cooldowns, you want to count numbers on the map. So you've been kind of conditioned to believe that like any mistake is your fault and you feel very targeted, right? So a lot of that is just like building consistency in your players. But when you get to a point where a lot of these BOL gold teams are, is like even though they're lower elo, even though they're this and that, like not like amazing, like the players are capable.
We're gonna have to put that on pause as we got a fight around Drake here. Indigo TPing in on the backside. The Super Mega Death Rocket already coming out, but Exile zoning away 3 on the front. Indigo is very, very deep. Goes all out here as Veneclice is very low. Will get picked off by Indigo on the backside, but now Indigo out of health as the Primordial Burst comes out. Exile now rejoining the fight as Moonlight forced to flash away. Has the Wild Growth already on, but Nocturne, Cassante, and Victor are all out of this fight. This should be an Infernal Drake secured for BDE.
And BDE extending that lead really effectively so far this series. Yeah, Hyperion keeps making positive plays, the Jinx is very fed, but they're not coordinating these fights around the river particularly well, and BDE is just like showing their prowess and their capability of CC layering.
Yeah, now with 2 Drakes starting to put a little bit of pressure on that Soul Timer that we were talking about earlier, and it is one of the more valuable ones. It is the one you asked for with the Infernal here, Dory. Gotta love it.
Yeah! Infernal Soul, let's do it.
But speaking of big, powerful buffs, let's talk about Pando and the fact that he's getting real close to that Rabadon's. Has only 200 stacks at this point, but once you hit that Rabadon's breakpoint, each stack becomes a stack and a half, and starts getting incredibly scary incredibly quickly, especially when you already have a fully stacked Roa and Shirelias on your back.
Alright. So, as we transition into this part of the game, we've got... You said Pando's on 100 stack? Did you say 200?
No, he's on 190.
190, okay. He's just about at 200 stacks, which, yeah, like you said, isn't a ton, but I mean... I'd say smacking him with your wallet, like the AP that he's accruing from that, like, he'll be able to stack again if he can get himself into an assigned lane quicker, but right now he's kind of farting around in the top jungle, so, he's not exactly in a hurry to get to top lane since it's, like, headed towards Cassante, but...
Yeah, it's fine. He's only down 30 CS. That's basically nothing.
Oh, only 30? Yeah, so once Pando gets onto the objectives, like, he's definitely participating in these fights, and the gold is dead even right now. I mean, Pando is the biggest wallet exchange for these guys, so I think that playing safe, allowing the wave to come into him is probably the smarter option, because giving that shutdown might be a real bad idea.
Yeah, 800 gold in pocket, or on head, I suppose, for Pando is a little bit terrifying here, as there's a lot of pressure, and Veneclisis just, again, way out of position, way disrespectful towards Hyperion, and is likely going to pay for it with Baron here as Minimap and Attila starting it up here into the top river. There's no Mordekaiser here, but there is TP available.
Yeah, and actually Hyperion using that advantage to get onto the Baron very fast, making the decisive play. TP coming down, you have the stun available. Exile going to be forced to come into the fight by himself. 6,000, 5,000, 4,000, getting burned way down. Is Exile going to take the Death Realm? Indigo actually going to pull Swag away from the Baron so he can't get onto it, but blue team, Swag barely missing the smite, gets it down to 86 HP, and Indigo taking the fight by himself, burning down Swag right now, goes for the all-out. Is he going to be able to return the kill? There's so much sustain here, but Exile actually finishes it off. And Indigo going down. One dead, one player not going to have this Baron, but Hyperion taking the Baron actually gives them a gold swing that's in their favor right now.
Yeah, absolutely dodged a bullet there too, as that Baron 100% should have been smited away there by Swag. Had the timing, had the numbers, just missed it by 50 HP.
And Viana Clysis getting caught by yourself trying to go for vision yet again is going to survive this time, but my guy, you gotta play around your life a little bit better here. We're going in blind. We got W Sword Syndrome over here, killing ourselves for vision that we don't even need. Like, why are we getting vision on Baron's side right now?
Yeah, just a little bit of that disrespect, of that not being aware of what's on the enemy team. I mean, you have a Nocturne. The moment someone from blue team lays eyes on you, there are two people on you. You cannot win that as a Milio. You have to be more respectful and more aware of where you are at all points in time. And look, again, wandering in alone, doesn't know who he's going to match up into, could very easily have given up yet another kill there.
Luckily, he flipped the coin and managed to flip heads this time. So, not going to die this time, barely misses the Nocturne. So now we have information that Nocturne is not in that banana around red buff, but we have no idea where Nocturne is still, honestly.
Yeah, it is
we
good.
didn't realize the reset.
It is good vision here as you prep for the Drake. 30 seconds on that, and means that BDE is going to be able to push in fairly easily, and absent a big pressure differential from Hyperion, should be able to force Soul Point here.
Now, with the Baron, Hyperion does have control over this. Super Mega Death Rocket almost takes down Pandorum as he's forced to flash away from Dion Atlas's root potential. We thought Swag had a flank, but unfortunately Exile has to walk. Just use TP for the last play, and isn't able to follow the flank.
Unrecognized
but Exile
here.
is waiting. Yeah, and TP actually coming down from Pandorum. They're going for the flank here. Flash coming out from Dion Atlas.
Takes Moonlight into the Death Realm.
Ultimate misses. Yeah, Moonlight's in the Death Realm, is forced to use the Wild Growth, and Nocturne trying to make the return play instantly flashes out to safety. Flash comes out, though, for the Kog'Maw to put himself into position to take this kill, but Exile actually takes it. So, tower pressure coming down, 3 people dead, Dragon coming out, and like you said, we're going to be forcing ourselves into a Dragon Soul situation. BDE has the ability now to force Hyperion to fight them.
Yeah, Pando? Pando?
Oh, Pando's griefing! Attila, great flash and great kill secure, but let's see if you can transition that into anything. I don't think so. No Super Mega... Oh, you do have Super Mega Death Rocket, but not going to fire it. Swag going to take the Dragon, but, you know, it's not the end of the world. You managed to sneak yourself a good kill. Like, your team overall still has a gold lead, but now you are stuck on a timer. You have 4.5 minutes, 5-ish minutes. You have 5 minutes to figure out how you are going to set your team up to not give up this Infernal Soul.
Yeah, and they've succeeded before, right? They were able to secure the Baron just 3.5 minutes ago, so they're definitely capable of it. It's just a matter of having ward control, having vision, having the numbers to actually be there, and not tunneling in on a mid-tier 2 when you know that a major neutral objective is up. Because that's what it is. There wasn't any vision south of mid lane at any point for Hyperion during that exchange. They didn't place wards. They didn't have any sweepers out. They didn't have the Scuttle Crab. They were just reliant on face checking, and that's why Exile was able to get so far behind. That's why Hyperion was in such disarray, because they didn't know how to respond, and That's exactly what they need to avoid here, both around this Baron in 90 seconds and around the Infernal Soul in 4 minutes.
That's absolutely right. And with this last Drake coming up, with Baron coming up in a minute and a half, both these teams have made proper plays to get their team an advantage with the neutral objectives. But honestly, it feels like the team fights are going in BDE's favor, but like really good picks are going over to Hyperion to create advantages.
Yeah, the picks are just barely enough to keep this game from going into complete catastrophe mode. But look at Exile, 7-2-0, has a bit of an item lead here, has a 500 gold shutdown on him, starting to reach that raid boss form. And they haven't done a good job of dealing with him. If he can keep getting gank angles like that, he'll be in good shape. But here, they're trying to find 3 members onto him, forcing out the Death Realm very early onto Indigo. Will it be enough to get out?
Yeah, at the very least, he'll be able to use the situation
Wait, he's
to
just
walk
winning
away.
this.
And he's actually just like 1v3ing the enemy team. Indigo actually going to use the Unstoppable to survive, and he's barely going to live! Ignite ticking, not even Ignite, it was just a burn from Leandres. He barely survives thanks to the red buff.
Whew, that was far closer than it should have been when you're committing 3 people onto a top laner. But they do get the shutdown, they take down the raid boss, and that means that now BDE, who was floating around that top side, can't commit onto the Baron anymore.
That is absolutely right. Vampiric Narwhal, though, kind of being quiet because he's been behind both games this series, but he's in a situation where he has 3 items into 2 really powerful melees, but you're looking at 3, like, triple range, so you're not going to get as much value out of that Hurricane. I'm not going to try to be overly critical, but I personally would have liked to see something a little bit different, maybe like a Terminus or a Wit's End or something like that.
Yeah, I think Wit's End
Maybe a Phantom Dancer?
would be great here, especially into Dion, giving you just a little bit extra survivability. I mean, yeah, you're a Kog'Maw, you don't mind dying, but you're also the primary sustained damage for your team. You gotta die at the end when it's got more value.
Yeah, absolutely. As we have the Scuttle Crab coming down. Now, this Baron's been up for a while. These teams are trying not to be overly risky about immediately going for it as soon as it spawns. Interesting.
Riot Games.
But take a look here. We actually have 2 waves of priority in favor of Hyperion, but intelligently enough, BDE sends one of their teleports up to deal with it, and they're going to try to get a slow push in preparation for this dragon. I haven't seen a single team. Well, there is one singular ward on this dragon, and it's in favor of Hyperion. Red team has just kind of like forfeited wanting to go for control, probably because Veneclysis has been told, like, yo, stop extending by yourself, you're going to die.
Yeah, and very nearly that time wasn't extending, but still almost died just by virtue of walking the wrong way around red buff. It's so dangerous for the Milio at this point to be anywhere when he's not babysat by Swag. You almost feel like you have to send him in as a 2-man cell here to get that vision, and that's exactly what they're doing.
That's absolutely right. They're finally starting to walk in together, go into clear vision together. Vampiric Narwhal does decide to base at an awkward time because they're ceding control of mid lane here, so they're just going to sweep the wards back out. But Exile hopefully going to get this wave to start pushing and crashing. It's going to be like a wave, though, unfortunately. If you're setting up a slow push, you can definitely like crash huge here, keep Dion on the wave for a long time, and then get control. But no complaints either. Like, you're still on the map first. You're incredibly strong. If you can apply pressure and we can give Pando a position.
Oh no, Attila. Attila's in the Death Realm.
Yeah, except Exile, it's going to take a long time to get over there. Attila chunked for half HP, trying to run away from Exile, going to run into the enemy team, dies outside of the Death Realm, going to die on the backside here. Veneclysis is barely alive, but Kog'Maw shredding Indigo right now, and Exile has slain Indigo. Dion Atlas being forced to run away, gets the flash burn, and Moonlight running for her life as well. 3 for 0
and
in favor
soul.
of BDE, and that's a soul.
Yeah, and the big thing there was, yeah, every flash on BDE got burned. Every combat spell got burned, but they separated Attila. They made Attila's value worthless to this team, and they kept Check Your Minimap and Indigo from being able to get onto Vampiric Narwhal. The Kog'Maw able to free fire from the backside and cut through those health bars, and now they're getting both objectives, actually, as this 3-man group going up to take care of the Baron while nobody's watching. This is an enormous swing in favor of BDE, and could just be the tipping point, pushing this game firmly in their favor. Oh no, Veneclysis is caught again.
Yet again, is Veneclysis going to survive? Moonlight trying to chase him down, but no, he's going to get the speed boost. Fuemigo fires. Oh, this is... this poor Lulu.
That's unfortunate, Moonlight. You tried your best, but you just couldn't shine on this one. Oh, but seriously though, Veneclysis, man. Please. Check your minimap.
Wrong team. Oh. Yeah, I knew that.
It's a name
So, yeah,
and a
we got-
command.
So yeah, it's now a 3,000 gold lead. Game has been dead even, like, for 35 minutes. 30, 34 minutes, whatever. And suddenly you have a 3,000 gold shift, you have a Baron, and you have an Infernal Soul, which accounts for a crap load of gold of hidden value. Indigo trying to 2v1 check with check your minimap against Exile, but I mean, look
They
at
still
Exile.
don't win this.
Yeah, they're just getting microwaved alive. And check your minimap, also gonna start taking the damage, is gonna actually return a bit of
Bonk.
it. Has
Yeah,
no the bonk. The bonk, the flash, the death, and BDE looking like they're trying to close this out and make it a 2-0 series.
Yeah, should be fairly straightforward from here on out. You got 2 waves of pressure, even with Exile being a little bit far behind. Should be enough to just slow walk it in. 80 seconds left on the Baron buff. 5v3, you just cut your way through the base, and not a whole lot left for Hyperion to do except pray for a miracle, a chance for Attila to get a couple of stacks of Excited and try and find something, but can't even pivot over to Vigar, and that's gonna seed this mid lane as well. Moonlight's gone. It is a complete lunar eclipse here in the mid lane, and down on the bot side, Exile is just saying, sure, I'll PvE this game, I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, Exile has been spending this series, like, he's got the most kills in the game, but it feels like he's just constantly in a side lane, constantly being an absolute menace to this Hyperion roster. And I think the pressure from Exile is honestly responsible for a lot of the the unforced mistakes that Hyperion have been making. It's responsible for a lot of what's killed Attila, and a lot of these flanks have basically made Attila's lead nothing. I think Attila they need to play around, like, securing and denying vision around where Attila wants to stand in these fights, and keep him from getting flanked and absolutely murdered, because he is their goal in a lot of these situations.
It's the QB pressure effect, right? You may not actually hit the quarterback, you may not even get close to the quarterback before the ball is out of hand, but the fact that you're there, the fact that you're bearing down on him, is enough to make them make, you know, ill-advised plays, to just panic a little bit and go with the first option, and often the first option isn't the best.
Yeah, I mean, I live in Buffalo. I'm a Buffalo fan.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, how many picks did my quarterback throw last year?
He gave famous Jameis a run for his money, so...
Anyways, we've got the game winding down. TP coming out from Exile, actually Pandorum. So we've got this mid pressure coming down. No Baron, but we do have Infernal Soul, 38 minutes. We've got 2 minutes on both major objectives. This is the potential swinging point and end point of this game if it goes poorly for one of these teams.
Yeah, whoever wins this next fight is winning the game, because they will either just be able to blow up the Nexus here if it's BDE, or have the pressure to take Inferno or Elder Dragon if it is Hyperion, and that'll be enough of a swing to take this game back for them. But
and take a look at how patient Indigo and Dion Atlas are being. They're going for the flank. They're starting to walk in here. Moonlight walking behind them, trying to give the speed up, and actually Swag's ultimate gonna go down. So there's no Sejuani ultimate available for this upcoming fight. Veneclysis playing dangerous with their life yet again. Indigo trying to flank, but the baby cage comes down. Flash comes out. Check your minimap, gonna die too instantly. All out comes out, but that just makes
Vampiric's untouched.
Easy kill. And Vampiric's still alive, just auto attacking for free. Triple kill coming down. Is that a quadra kill? Yes, it is. Now, the real question is, the game is over. The game is clearly over, but the real question is, are they going to int to give Vampiric Narwhal the Penta?
Well, it looks like the Penta is going to fall off here very, very soon, so no Penta to be
Here we
had,
go.
but...
Here we go. Here we go. It's still up. It's still up. Take a look at the bottom of the screen. Kog'Maw's got 4 swords. Still hasn't gone down. And Pando's going to yoink it from him. No pentakill for Vampiric Narwhal. And that is going to be 2-0. Match point going over to BDE Corruption. And Hyperion better go back to the drawing boards.
Yeah, they're going to need a lot of markers to get this one back drawn into their favor, Dory, because... boy, did BDE have their number come mid-game.
Mm-hmm. They are getting the right stuff throughout this game, like early on, but they're just not transitioning these leads that they're acquiring into anything even remotely useful. This is 2 games in a row that Jinx has gotten massive, and then just the game is stalled out because we haven't rotated the winning lane early. We haven't taken bot tower and rotated early into objectives.
Yeah, I mean, it's just feels like Hyperion doesn't quite know what they need to be doing with their leads, with their gold. And admittedly, this may come down to communication issues. It may come down to any number of things, but you have to clean that up. You have to be more aware of what you need to do as a team, because these drafts are good. As you've said, they're winning based on what BDE is giving them, and they're just losing it in the hands check.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And I mean, I think they probably just have to put check your minimap in a situation where they can play a utility role and create plays for the team. Because very clearly, like, Moonlight is not utilizing their lead particularly well. They're just like pocketing Attila, and then Attila is not rotating out of lane. That lane phase lasted 21 minutes. They were still in lane phase at 21 minutes with a Jinx with 3, 0, and 2. At that point, that game should have been over. 40 CS lead, take that tower, take mid lane, take jungle, rotate onto bot, take that tower, rotate mid, take that tower, take every objective off cooldown, win the game. You should be playing around this Jinx, and this Jinx should not, under any circumstances, be getting caught first every single fight.
Yeah. And speaking of getting caught, how about that target selection in those last couple of fights? Especially that last one in the mid lane. Vampiric Narwhal did not take more than 200 damage in the entire fight. Let me repeat that.
Didn't even need the Milio.
The main damage threat on this BDE team did not take more than 10% of their health as damage. How in the world do you expect to win a fight without a secondary tank if you can't kill the only damage dealer on the enemy team?
Honestly, because your DPS is dead.
Well, yes, but
yeah.
I mean,
So
Minimap and Atlas also need to be targeting more correctly.
Yeah, I think Atlas has a lot of potential to create separation so that you can shred the front line first. But honestly, Kog'Maw got to a point where Kog'Maw could just like delete enemy front line from the screen, especially because Indigo's using all out so early.
Yeah, absolutely. It's for a team that has made it to playoffs, there is a lot to clean up here.
Yeah, so that being said, I don't want to say they're out of it, but it is match point. So Hyperion, let's see what you're going to do to address this situation as we go to a quick break. We'll be back to you with the draft for Game 3. My name's Dory K, and this is Alls yet again, and this series is driving me to drink.
Not like we needed an excuse.
Anyways, as we survive the inclement weather over at home of Alls, we are into Game 3. This is match point for BDE Corruption as the quick bans come down. Targeted ban towards Dion, targeted ban towards Check Your Minimap, targeted ban towards Moonlight, which that Janna definitely pocketed its Jinx very well. We still haven't seen a Jinx ban though. BDE starting with Morgana.
Yeah, this does leave the Attila Jinx open. Not quite sure why they would do that, but I guess they figure it's work 2 games in a row, you can do it for a third.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I think that they need to start to think of ways to deal with Mordekaiser if the reality of it is that it's going to exist. But we do see the Ashe come in response to the Morgana. I think that's perfectly safe, especially if they're threatening it as a support counter pick, as you guys may... No, we haven't said it. I haven't said it. Lost Havoc is back. BDE is playing their starting support. Rest in peace. Thank you for playing. I love a good Fuemigo player, but you were getting caught a lot, my friend. So, BDE starting their whole roster. Ashe, flex pick, still used by Lost Havoc as a flex pick, so it's still perfectly capable here. And a good pairing to go with the Ashe is that Nocturne.
Yeah, and I mean, we saw the Nocturne working well for a couple of fights for Hyperion last game. Check Your Minimap had a great early start there on the bot side, but...
I was talking about the wrong team. This is Attila's Ashe. This is not Moonlight's Ashe.
Yeah, here comes the Kog'Maw to pair with the Morgana. Could this be a Morgana mid, Dory?
It could be a Morgana mid. I mean, it is a Pando thing, and I don't think it pairs particularly well with Kog'Maw. So, I mean, I think seeing Morgana and then picking Ashe Nocturne's kind of weird to me. Yeah, it's Morgana mid. So Pando gonna get a Lost Chapter. Hopefully, someone tells Pando to take Dematerializer. That's still in the game, right? That hasn't been removed yet?
Next patch, I believe.
Next patch. So you still have Dematerializer, so you can dematerialize 2 casters in a melee, and then you can instant clear wave with Tormented Soil.
Mm-hmm.
And then just rotate for free with your jungler. So you just get a very strong AD jungler, probably melee, pocket it with Lulu Kog'Maw, and you're in a really favorable position. But at the same side, much less complicated, Hyperion can just click their no-no buttons at you.
And they have plenty of them with Seraphine stacked on top of the already picked Ashe and Nocturne. The Mordekaiser and the Malphite taken away here to round out the bans. And boy, they're really trying to pinch that Exile pool, aren't they?
Yeah, unfortunately for Exile, he's going to have to pick one of the other 16 champions he can play well. Hyperion does have the benefit
Such a
of
hard
last
life.
pick. They have Lux Seraphine locked in, and that is technically a flex pick. Pando will play either, and Havoc will play either. So we'll see what gets paired with it. I think Seraphine pairs with Ashe a little bit better than Lux, but I also think Lux pairs into Lulu pretty well.
Reminder, Havoc is on blue side.
Havoc is on the wrong side. I keep saying that. Moonlight can play both. Moonlight can play both. Dion Atlas can play both. I think Dion Atlas is more likely to play with Lux, though.
There's your AD jungler here, as Volibear is slammed blue 4.
Oh, no. I shouldn't have looked at Twitch chat. So anyways, we've got Volibear locked in, Scion as well. This is the front line that you need. And, I mean, it's not great to have, this hybrid dive setup, but, I'm kind of for it, given how BDE's been playing the series so far.
Now, this is 100% a Protect the Cog comp, where they're just yeah, we don't need everyone to protect the Cog. We just need someone. And
honestly, oh, there we go. I like Jax here. I like Jax.
I'm okay with it, but this Hyperion squad is so squishy. Scion gets on the backline, hits an unstoppable onslaught, and a decimating smash. Every squishy is dead. Ashe, Seraphine, Lux, all gone before the fight even starts. Immediate triple kill for Sion. Okay, you dive onto Kog'Maw, but it's way too late.
Yeah, my other major concern is we kind of saw it near the end of last game, is like we didn't have very consistent ways to kill BDE's front line. And the only way was just like constantly under pressure, so they weren't able to create separation properly with Victor. And the front line was just dead instantly. Like Indigo clicked all out and just got boop, gone.
Yeah, exactly.
In this situation, you're running into the same thing. Ashe has one build that can successfully shred frontline, and it's pretty expensive compared to the other Ashe builds in the game. And if I know anything about IBSG, I'm gonna see a goddamn Triforce.
I feel like we had this conversation before, Dory.
Yeah, it's almost like we have it every time Ashe is locked in this league, huh?
Wild. What a weird, weird thought to have.
Yep. So for those of you counting the drink counter, I guess we'll take one when he locks in a Sheen, when he gets a Phage, and when wait, it's Phage for Triforce now, right? And we'll see one when he gets the attack speed item. We'll see one when he finishes the Triforce. Fort Triforce, get ready for it. But if I'm lucky, I'm gonna see Attila build like a human. And that might be the game they win. That being said, lots of CC layering. I think Hyperion, I want to give Hyperion the benefit of the doubt. They do have a lot of CC layering, and if they snowball, this game snowballs out of control. But they've kind of proven that they struggle really bad in the mid game at pushing their leads. So this is the game they have to do it.
That's very fair. I want, in theory, I want Hyperion to win, because I think they've shown the capacity to play well, and I would like them to have more opportunities to play well. In practice, I don't think the transition from game 2 to game 3 is going to be enough, because the transition from game 1 to game 2 was just a strict downgrade.
Yeah, honestly, that I agree wholeheartedly. That being said, I think if Jax is put in a position where he could be successful, he's unkillable in a side lane. He has potential to run away with the game and force a lot of resources out of BDE. So I think this is I think if there's any game that we need Indigo to show up, it's this game.
Yeah, well, only time will tell. Dory, any final thoughts here as we await the players to get onto the Rift?
Hyperion, let's make it a series. Let's go.
All right, amen to that, folks. Hyperion up against the wall, facing elimination and death in BOL Gold if they cannot beat BDE Corruption. BDE looking for a clean sweep as they head to face either their sister team or the unbeatable Demon Kings of BOL Gold. We'll see what happens on the Rift right after this break, so don't go anywhere.
All right, Hyperion Gaming. They can take our lives, but they cannot take our freedom.
They can't take our
And boy,
Scion mid.
Oh, that's Pandorum playing Scion mid, Exile playing Volibear top, and Swag playing Morgana jungle, which is a blast from the past. Shout out Caxi over in the Emerald League. He's a big fan of that one.
Yeah, hey, the game is already over because Swag got 5 damage on Dion. Let's just go ahead and call it here.
Absolutely, it is going. So, Morgana. We can talk about Morgana a little bit. Morgana jungle, really fast clear. If you see Buttered Chicken in the chat, shout him out. Ask him what the Morgana jungle clear is, because it's almost as fast as Janna.
That sounds questionable.
Nah, Buttered Chicken, the Masters player for Sun Gaming, the jungler, he's over here cooking. He subscribed to a YouTube channel where all this jungler does is every patch he makes videos on the different jungle, like optimal jungle clears for different champions. And he's just like, yeah, Janna jungle 330 start on Gromp or start on Raptors. So yeah, if you want a 330 full clear on Janna jungle, you know what to do. Hail Blades it up.
Hail of Blades, Janna jungle. That is a sentence I never thought I would speak in this lifetime.
Yeah. Anyways, on to serious things. Indigo over here having a nice little trade with Exile, but that Volibear passive, you have to be really aware of it, and Indigo is just sitting here just kind of like taking it to the face.
Also not taking minions, which is, you know, slightly problematic in a game about having gold.
Yeah, and you have the Counter-Strike procced here, but Exile just says, no, I don't care about that. I'm level 2 and you're not. So, priority coming out for Exile, using his passive to push the wave and get the advantage.
Oh, Vampiric's not level 2.
Moonlight. Vampiric gonna get caught. First blood going down to Attila yet again. Man, Narwhal. You are not laning well, Narwhal and Havoc. I don't know if it's a Narwhal problem or a support problem, but my god.
Yeah, at this point, you almost just need Swag to camp in there, be a second support, and maybe that'll be enough for Vampiric to stay alive, but you have to respect that level 2 timing. Like, right? I'm not crazy. That is the big swing point for ADCs. You need to recognize that 100% of the time.
Yeah, and Swag over here just getting invaded as a response. Check your minimap, going for the 50-50 play, manages to get the steal, has to flash away, and Swag walking out of here. Now, good pathing from Check Your Minimap. The flash coming out, the stun from Exile, and the flash knockup from Pando. Are they going to get the kill? Swag lands the Dark Binding from downtown, and Dion Atlas, your W can only do so much. Another kill coming out. Yeah, first blood went down to Attila, but he's on a much lower, I guess...
Ceiling?
I'm thinking of the word. Agency. Lower agency ADC. You have less agency over the success of the game based on the gold you've acquired. It's more about your cooldown reduction, right? On Ashe, it's about just pressing R. So yeah, the gold's not as valuable as it was on Jinx. As another stun comes down from Moonlight, maybe it just doesn't matter. Maybe Narwhal is just going to play Gray Screen Simulator this game, going to get rushed down again, forced to flash away, and now Kog'Maw, 0 HP, just has Ghost, is already down a kill, and Attila can just force this wave. Swag almost hits the Dark Binding, but it's the slowest skill shot in the goddamn game, so Indigo going to be able to dodge that one.
Yeah, Indigo did also pick up a solo kill onto Exile, got the double buffs away from him, which had been handed over by Minimap, and now this Nocturne potentially looking to pick off Narwhal, who's very low here, but could also be in trouble himself, as they found him out.
Yeah, and Check Your Minimap, not deciding to turn the play, probably thinks jungle is nearby, doesn't have vision on him, is just going to miss the Q to secure the kill.
Scion's coming down.
And Vampiric Narwhal, but Pando about to catch these guys, queuing over the wall. Check your mini-map trying to stay alive, but no, he's walking right into Pandorum. He channels the shield, but he might just be tilted at this point. 0-2. Nocturne Jungle just going for such risky invades.
Yeah, and Pando's getting those stacks now on the W despite not having any lane priority, obviously, into a Lux having a complete range disadvantage, is doing a good job of having far more agency around the map and keeping this interesting here in the mid lane.
Yeah, and like, look at that. He's even hitting the farm. He's not going to get that one because he waited to
Oh, look
auto
at
a
this
little
gank
too
coming
long.
around from Swag.
Gank coming out. Swag, are you going to channel the Q immediately? Yep, flash comes out from Dion Atlas. Good timing. Black, dark binding. Light binding also misses here. And we've got both bindings, light and dark, in this game. Neither of them are going to hit.
Yeah, good awareness and reaction time from Dion there, holding the flash till the last second, but this does leave a great capacity for a regank here in the near future if Swag wants to come back around and do the exact same thing after clearing a couple more camps.
Now, Indigo actually, at some point here, got double buffs off of a kill. Off of Exile? Did he solo
Yes.
kill Exile and I didn't see it?
Yes, that was during the second trade onto Narwhal, where Narwhal didn't quite die.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, good play for Indigo. I mean, despite getting ganked and giving up a kill early on, Indigo managing to play his XP very well. The XP does get given up during the gank when it's in a wave like it was, but I didn't think it'd be enough to give him 6-5 advantage like this.
I mean, it was partially because of the size of that wave that was being crashed right there.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So, still level 5 onto Exile here. Indigo gonna try to dodge away, not quite in range for a Dark Binding, so he's gonna walk out.
Yeah, no slam coming down from Exile either, so no real way to lock down the Jax, and will just be the end of that.
Yeah, and Narwhal is just stuck in such a weird position, but is still somehow keeping up in farm, despite being absolutely mollywopped.
Yeah, I guess taking what he can get and doing a good job of being aware now that he's taken that obligatory first death, being a little bit more cognizant of the damage and the lockdown that Moonlight and Attila can put out, especially with that great synergy with the E.
Yeah, and the synergy with the E is exactly right. Now, sorry, check your mini-map getting onto the bot side of the map. I don't know if they saw each other or if they just flipped it. Yeah, no, they saw Swag go for the Void Grub, so he knew he could do the Drake here. Dion Atlas, she's rotating again. This is a pretty good defensive rotation, especially if you didn't see where Exile was on that base.
Yeah, Pando does have ultimate though, so could look to pick somebody off here, but just playing it carefully, just wandering through.
You know, I suddenly understand why I got that cooking gif in a DM before the game started.
Yeah, this is definitely more spicy than we expected. But
Yeah,
I am not complaining.
Yeah, me neither. This has been a really fun series. Like, even if it ends up being a 3-0, like, it's gonna be an entertaining stream. So far, I think that these first two games have been super entertaining. The gold has been dead even until just, like, the breaking point at, like, 35 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah.
Aw, poor Exile. Can't get a minion to save his life.
Poor bear.
Is keeping up here, though.
Yeah, and I mean, this is Indigo's game to win, right? Like, if Indigo doesn't want to go home a loser tonight, he needs to take advantage of his the resources they've given him in draft and run away with this game.
Yeah, and admittedly, he's been given a whole lot more opportunity here by BDE than he had been in other games, because Exile had been picked onto champions that scaled very well into that mid and late game in the last couple of games, but this time it's on the bear. It's a champion that doesn't really do that. You either win hard early or you start to become neutral.
Yeah, and oh, Dion too. Dion out of mana over here, trying to hit the minions, but somehow Pando is only 3 CS behind despite having 2 kill participation and is in a much more favorable lane state here.
Oh, Swag. Forgot minions exist.
Yeah, Swag unfortunately dark binding onto a minion.
Now Swag's in a little bit of an awkward spot. There is the ultimate available from Volibear. However, Paranoia coming out early. Morgana forced to use that ultimate, but will not be enough. Going down to check your minimap here is Exile now in trouble, using the ultimate very late, but will be enough to get minimap. Can he find Indigo as well? No, the auto attack comes through, and that's 2 for the top layer here.
Yeah, and Indigo able to turn that around there. Getting up to 2-0 is down a few CS, but Volibear actually finishes the Gnasher's Tooth here. Ultimate from Pandorum, gonna miss. Moonlight slowed here, knocked up by the Q, and that's gonna relieve a little bit of pressure from this bot lane. Lost Havoc is looking really low, so one stray hit could kill him. And Dion Atlas, despite being in a weird spot in this lane and kind of taking bad trades and bad base timings, is now up CS. Pando didn't get anything from that last roam, and she got 2 tower blades.
Yeah, far from the end of the world for this Lux, doing all right things here in the mid lane, as Pando just hasn't been able to get some of these to hit the way he wanted, but still, there's a lot more capacity for Pando to have an effect on the maps than there is for Dion, because you're so reliant on that final spark to be your kind of long-range effectiveness. Whereas the Unstoppable Onslaught does a whole lot more in terms of getting you there, allowing you to continue to chain through. And actually, Pando's going to clean up a turret plate for himself in the way out, so keeping it real even here in the mid lane.
Yeah, and we have yet another lead in the bot lane. Item breakpoint being hit by Attila, so let's see if they use that at all. Drake's still not up for another minute here, but
Counter-strike's down, jumps down.
Go for a trade. Yeah, nothing. Exile is getting pretty low, but Indigo taking the Tormented Soul, gonna die in response though. Swag gonna get the shutdown onto Indigo. Pandora being flashless now in the mid lane, forced to flash out, is gonna try to stay and pick up this CS, but gonna take the damage from Dion Atlas. The light binding hits through the minion wave, and Pando still looking pretty low. Is gonna base though for safety.
Yeah, there's no final spark, there's no real threat here, so Pando able to back, able to look at using that onslaught here to get back, or in fact, TP is coming in towards the top side. They're gonna make this last grub interesting. Swag zoned away though, Moonlight being locked up here, but they do stop the grub take.
Yeah, and the check your minimap is going to go for the ultimate here, gonna try to make the guaranteed play instead of risking that last grub. Exile trying to protect his team, but the Ashe ultimate comes across the map and snipes Exile, so it looks like that play is going to end. You've got Moonlight rotated up, Dion Atlas on no mana, so she's not the most useful. She can spare an extra E, but with no ability to use her ultimate right now, no ability to clear the wave outside of autos, I think we're just going to see everybody reset.
Yeah.
Minus, you know, the grub being taken.
Yeah, BDE was thinking about trying to do something here on the top side, but or mid lane, but just didn't quite have enough there. There wasn't a real good angle, so just the end of that. And this is the downside of the AP Volibear, right? Just a single Q is enough to take about half health, and Exile really struggling to stay alive in this lane. Look at that.
Yeah, I've been informed that I've been calling him XIL, like Exile, for literal years. Turns out it's Zill. Oops. The ultimate coming down, not going to matter. Indigo gets the dive off with the counter-strike. And Zill overstaying. That Gnasher's Tooth really doing him a justice, you know?
Yeah, there's a reason AP Volibear is a kind of troll build.
Yeah, Caster doesn't know what he's saying, Pepe Hands.
I just figured you've been around IBSG so much longer than me, you have to be right. Bye, Vampiric.
Yeah, no, that build is super not doing wonders for him, but the flash coming out from Attila, pretty good flash, but Moonlight, unfortunately, going to be the one who dies as a result of that. Dion Atlas being forced to flash out to safety. Swag almost lands the Dark Binding, but good flash from Dion. Unfortunately, the wave's pushing into Hyperion, and yeah, I mean, they're sitting up gold right now. They've got the ability to turn this around. The Enchanted Crystal Arrow comes out. Light Binding going to land in response. Off to the backside with Paranoia, though. Good good flank from Check Your Minimap. Really good Paranoia. And Pando going to be stuck into his his passive. And Attila going to kite it out. Going to live. Dion Atlas and Attila staying alive at the end of this play. Swag gonna be able to use the Dark Shield to escape, but Black Shield to escape. But yeah, that dragon fight was pretty explosive for no dragon actually going down.
Yeah, and Minimap finally waking up a little bit here. We talk about that first Paranoia, and it worked all right, but wasn't nearly as big as the last game, where it resulted in so many kills for them. It was just barely sufficient. The second one, far more useful, and will secure them the second Drake of the game. Looking towards what kind of soul here? Ocean Soul, in fact, which would be very good for this squishy team to give them a little bit of durability in these extended team fights.
Yeah, and I mean, definitely paired with like Seraphine, gonna be on pretty high CDR. That's no, okay. Gonna be on pretty high CDR. Gonna be able to spam that W, using her passive to keep her team pretty healthy. And you can see how long team fights can be extended if Seraphine is able to do that. So you can actually get Attila into a position where he can stack up lethal tempo, and once his build's on like 3-4 items, if he's going like on hit, actually trying to DPS the front line, he actually can sustain through a team fight relatively long if he can avoid getting free fired on by Narwhal like he did last game.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Narwhal has consistently struggled in the early game, but towards those mid and late game team fights starts to have significantly better target selection, starts to be far more aware of what he needs to be playing as, and if they can pivot that earlier, it's going to make it very hard for Hyperion to play this, but so far they've been doing a good job of keeping this Kog'Maw down. That being said, minimap...
Check your minimap being stuck. Okay, Pandorum with the flash. Gonna pop the plant, so check your minimap can't escape. Tries to proc the Paranoia to escape, but it's not gonna do anything. Vampiric Narwhal running him down. Lost Havoc, let's give us a speed buff. No, we're gonna take it away here. Unstoppable Force coming down from... Oh, great light binding from Dion Atlas to keep him alive.
Yeah, and that's expensive too, because that was first turret going down in the bot side for that. So spent a lot of time trying to chase down someone that they didn't even connect with.
Yeah, and honestly, Hyperion not looking so bad off. They're sitting on fourth, like a 3,500 gold lead. They just got first tower. Attila is immediately rotating towards mid lane. This is what I wanted to see from them last game. Let's end laning phase. Let's start to snowball. Let's make some picks with this Paranoia, and let's make it so BDE can't get into a scaled position where they can team fight and just win the game.
Yeah, they're going to pick up a second turret here. They've already got a 3,500 gold lead, and it's only going to expand from this point. Just a lot of opportunity for Hyperion to put themselves back into this series.
Yeah, and like this might have been what the doctor ordered. Like Jinx is a scaling pick. Maybe he was just thinking, oh, I just have to scale and I just have to hang out. Maybe putting him on something that just like says go on its own was the right option. And Jax is in a perfectly good position to start running away with the game. Triforce is done. Jax just needs to get this tower taken down, and with the support of his team here, he's going to be able to, because a gentle breeze would take this tower down.
Yeah, and Volibear not going to be able to put up a ton of a fight. However, on the other side, Dion in trouble. Dion is going to fall here, and that's a 350 gold gift into Swag's pockets. Now on a killing spree. This Morgana, not nothing right now.
Yeah, Swag looking pretty thick. Vampiric Narwhal, though, in response on the other side of the map, going to try to get himself a objective bounty if he can just get one more wave. And Alls, I think this time it's okay to say one more wave. I don't think he's going to die.
I don't know. Well, now that Jax isn't running straight towards him anymore, it should be A-okay, but was looking a little bit suspect there for a moment, and now Indigo back on the way. Gotta get out of there fast once you take this, my friend.
Come on, Narwhal, go, buddy, go! Hit the tower, and it's down. Now run like hell.
And an objective bounty in the top side as well.
And this is a gold swing for BDE that could stabilize the game at least a little bit for them. Now, they're down 2,000 gold still, but if we can identify real quick where those gold disadvantages are, maybe it would be a little bit more telling.
AP Volibear, that's where.
Yep, AP Volibear is 1,200 down, Morgana's 100 up. Looking at an 800 gold lead for Dion Atlas. Very quiet. Like a 20 CS lead has just kind of ballooned into more gold here. And I mean, you're looking at towers being down. You're getting Mr. Free Cannon. And then Attila actually sitting on a 600 gold lead as well. So good situation if you're Hyperion. It looks less close than it has been the last 2 games.
Yeah. The problem is Hyperion has taken neutral games and turned them into losses. They now have to take a winning game and keep it from turning into a neutral one.
Yeah, I completely agree with that assessment. And they've got an opportunity to put themselves on sole point this time for the first time in the series.
Indigo
is... comes out.
I don't love this for him.
Yeah, as the fight comes down, ultimate comes out for Volibear. He's going to burn to death, though. Barely survives, actually. No, he's actually getting the Wild Growth. He's going to survive a little bit longer here. Check your minimap going down to Pandorum's knockup. Swag misses the Dark Binding by just a little bit. Attila trying to survive as long as he can, but Vampiric Narwhal is getting the autos he needs. Q coming down, Vampiric Narwhal with the flash to get this Slay down onto Attila, and that's going to be the Dragon stacking slowed down for Hyperion. BDE on the Dragon here, but Moonlight still alive. Dion Atlas still full HP. Can they stop this Dragon from going down? Moonlight almost on 0 mana. There are plants over there, but she might not have time to get to them. Dion Atlas and Moonlight, can we get a turnaround? I don't think we can. That's going to be an ultimate attempt to steal, and BDE going to stabilize this game. They're only down 900 gold now.
Yeah, they're down 900 gold, and they have an incredibly powerful jungler. And Vampiric Narwhal is starting to reach his late game positioning point. This is all the wins for BDE.
Yeah, we're approaching what appears to be another Ginsu's Rage Blade very, very quickly.
Yeah. I think it's time to warm up those feet, Dory, as I'm seeing a Hearthbound and a Phage in the inventory for the Ashe.
All right. I'm sad.
One day, IBSG ADCs are going to understand what you mean regarding building this champion. Day is not that day.
Yeah, I mean, this is such a good this is such a good situation for it.
Oh, this is interesting. Dion has no light binding.
Yeah, no light binding, so Exile gonna try to chase her down. She's gonna take a little bit of damage from the passive, but Exile or Zill just doesn't seem to really care.
Zill is dead.
Light binding coming down. Zill is super dead. Out comes the paranoia. Gonna try to trade a kill onto Dion Atlas. And he does! Zill manages to get a trade kill here. Check your minimap. Flashes outside of Volibear's W that he thought was there, but that was actually Lux E that he flashed out of. And he survives.
Hey, my own teammates are scarier than my enemies, man.
Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna get off the Ashe thing. I hate it. And I will go on record saying I hate it. But Hyperion still sitting on a 100 gold lead. But Zill says no. Zill manages to take a trade, and the AP Volibear are going to do a lot of damage to the Lux.
Yeah, and that's a little concerning, right? Because this Volibear, so far behind, so irrelevant, should absolutely have been able to be kept that way. As now Nocturne's perhaps in a bit of an awkward situation, gets polymorphed, and is going to just get bitten down by Vampiric.
Right. Straight to the gray screen with check your minimap, and he's dead. But he got a tower, so I'd say that's a good trade. He's not worth any gold anyways.
Yeah, but it puts Vampiric ahead, and that's scary.
Yeah, and this gold lead that was sitting on like 3,000-4,000 is very quickly approaching nothing. And you were just talking about how important it is to get yourself into a not neutral game. So we want to kind of like shift our focus onto Indigo at this point. If they're not just going to like snowball their lead into a quick win, then we probably need to look at the team's compositions like realistic win conditions, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Because Attila not necessarily going to be able to be that hyperscaler in the way that they were in games 1 and 2. You're not on the Jinx, obviously. You have significantly less damage output. Check your minimap. I mean, he's doing alright. 4 and 6, he's not nothing, but still not going to be that sustained damage. A lot of the pressure is going to be on these solo lanes, on Indigo and Dion, and they haven't had a lot of resources put into them. Well, okay, there's been a bit into Indigo, but there's been next to nothing on Dion.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the bright side We'll go with the bright. We're gonna say the bright side of going this Triforce dealio is Pando not building the most beefy. 1, 2. Zill is also not building particularly beefy yet, so it's not as big a deal. 3. It looks like he might be building Bork. At least one of the items to build out a recurve bow. So maybe he gets Bork and we see HP stacking and it ends up being fine. And that's it. As the ultimate comes down, Moonlight going to go down, but so is Narwhal. Paranoia coming out in response. Check your minimap, going to blow up Lost Havoc. And Hyperion getting themselves another kill, 2,000 gold up.
Yeah, Attila's pretty low, though. Has to be very careful as Swag does a ton of damage right now with that burn. And by the way, Volleybear, untouched in the side lane, has just gotten himself another turret.
Yeah, looking pretty good.
What a weird game, Dory.
This is such a weird game. We're in another game where we're to kill a minute, and I'm all for it.
Oh, man. Pando has just... You know, you say he's not stacking too much health, but he's already at close to 4,000 at this point, thanks entirely to that Soul Furnace passive. So having the ability to cut through, as we now have double recurve bows on Attila, is incredibly valuable.
Yeah. Yeah, actually cutting down would be good. And it looks like it's going to become a Terminus, which, as I was saying with our friend in Twitch chat, Deicide Aries, that's actually pretty good too. I don't mind that item at all. I'm glad it's not Triforce, but we already have Triforce, so it's okay. We're just going to live with it. Indigo already onto this dragon here. We have 2 dragons stacked. We've got a little over 1,000 gold lead, 1.5-ish, give or take. And we have priority for Zill in the top lane with TP available. Dion Atlas also rocking a teleport, so she can respond if she needs to. But we'll see if we can equalize the dragons here for BDE. Teleport coming out. Moonlight going to be forced back into a choke point here. And the CC is not going to come down, so Dragon's going to go over to BDE as Dion Atlas just receives the wave coming in. They decide to forfeit that one.
Yeah, and this is starting to get a little bit scary, honestly, Dory, because... Yeah, the health stacking isn't necessarily there, but Pandorum is going to be beefy at the end of the day. Zill is going to be beefy at the end of the day. And a 4 Ocean Drake Ocean Soul? Yeah, you're never getting through him.
It was the big brain play. They were giving away the first 2 Drakes so that they could stack 4.
Exactly. It's like at the start of the season when every jungler was convinced that that was the move because you got 4 stacks on the main drag.
Abso-freaking-lutely. And that honestly was the play for a little while. Like, if your team composition like wasn't all about like snowballing and like securing an early lead and stuff, like you would just say, you know what, it's fine. We'll give it up. We can just rotate onto something else. All we have to do is prevent the Rift Herald from taking first tower and then creating an open map. But like nowadays, the dragons, I don't know. Actually, I think it's much more like team comp dependent, probably.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Because they've rebalanced the Drakes so much that it's actually reasonable to make varied decisions as opposed to a one-size-fits-all.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, you used to be able to just, like, pretty much indefinitely give up the first 2 Drakes as, like, the snowballing team comp, get one of the first 2 Rift Heralds, take first tower, rotate off of it, and then guarantee you get the last Drakes. But now, it's, like, not so cut and dry. Like, grubs are good in the right comp, but not, like, every comp.
Yeah. Pandorum, enjoying the split push lifestyle, though. He would have really enjoyed those grumps if he had gotten a chance to get them.
All them grubs. But we're sitting on 3-3, so we're going to hope that that doesn't have too much of an impact on the game, but we'll see.
Yeah, looks like Hyperion is thinking about an angle onto Vampiric here, as everybody's floating around this mid lane, but just can't find it. All of the pockets are there with Swag and Lost Havoc directly beside their ADC at all points in time, and even Pando roaming down, hanging out in the river, just to be an extra little bit of dissuasion here. Very, very hard to play this game if you're the Nocturne at this point.
Absolutely. Now, Pando is receiving yet another wave, and how many stacks? 10. Is that the stacks of Soul Furnace? That 1035?
Yes, it is.
That's the HP granted, right?
Yes,
That
it
number.
is.
It's over 1,000 HP just from the passive of a basic spell.
Yeah, it's a quarter of his health bar. It's fair. It's reasonable.
Mother of God. So yeah, we were talking about that HP stacking. Terminus coming down. Terminus does have some on-hit damage. Bork has on-hit damage. Wits End has on-hit damage. All of it's probably pretty good here. So you know what? I'm all for what you're doing right now, Attila. Keep it up. In the meantime, what do you think of Malignant's death cap on Dion?
You know what? I don't hate it. I think there are better choices, perhaps, with, I'm pretty sure I saw a Ludens at one point, and I'm not quite sure why you'd go ahead and sell that. But
Wait, she had a Luden?
Yeah, she had a Ludens at one point and sold it.
Huh?
Yeah, I don't know. But in terms of raw value, like, sure, the Malignance is fine. Lux's ult gets on such a low cooldown, it's basically a basic ability anyway, so might as well make use of the Malignance, same way the Ahri does. Take it or leave it.
Alright, we'll go with that. And Seraphine going for the demonic tech, doesn't have to use her double up on her E anymore, has the Rylai's Crystal Scepter. Yep. I know word.
It's nasty.
So, I mean, we're in a scenario where, like, one stray team fight can go to either of these teams, right? Like, they've been, I think Hyperion has been layering their CC very well, and they've been making solid picks. But at the same time, this was kind of the exact same narrative we were spinning last game, when just out of nowhere, BDE found their team fight and just rolled the game.
Yeah, and this is my concern that I brought up about 10 minutes ago, right? Hyperion had a lead. They needed to keep it a lead. They needed to start accelerating the game. Instead, they have not kept that 4,000 gold lead. They have fallen to a 1,000 gold lead where it has stagnated for the past 5 minutes. They're going to lose another Drake, be facing Soul Point with a 4-stack Ocean. They don't have the pressure to take this Baron. They're just in such an awkward spot. And especially if they turn and burn on this could be the end of the game in a fight right here.
Yeah, and Indigo channels his base. He's sitting in base right now, finishing off no items. He's just going to teleport into the play if it comes. The blue trinket comes out to see it. Here comes the Unstoppable Force. Gets bumped away by the Baron. Thank you, base Baron, for saving our life. But Zill going to rotate into here, and there's going to say thank you for the leash. Thank you very much. Indigo with the worst base I've ever seen. CC layering coming out from Hyperion just a little bit too late, but look at the backside here. Narwhal and Lulu getting chunked down a little bit, but they're going to be able to use the Shurelia's Battle Song to walk away, and that's going to be a free Baron just handed over. Free Ocean Drake, free Baron. Jax with the base that makes me want to throw up, and they're tossing the game away, alls.
Yeah, they're tossing the game, and look, we really, really ragged on this Volibear for how he handled the early game. But right now, is up in items, is up in pressure, is up in map awareness, is playing the game just better at the moment, and it has turned into a big lead for his team. Not entirely him, obviously. Pando with the ult, and the rest of the 4-man squad with the awareness to rotate immediately from Drake to Baron helped ensure that that was the case, but having a Volibear that's stayed remotely relevant is a huge part of it.
Yeah, and unfortunately they're not able to use what they're good at, as Exile goes down to the counter-strike, is going to try to ult over the wall, but not going to work. He goes for the flash to try to run away, and the Enchanted Crystal Arrow just goes a little shy, as on the opposite side of the map, check your mini-map, barely surviving using the Paranoia to try to survive, but it's not going to be for very long as Vampiric Narwhal shreds down Attila. Attila staring at a gray screen as his base gets torn to shreds. by Vampiric Narwhal. Yet again, untouched. Lost Havoc, almost dead. Pandorum on another tower. Moonlight trying to get off to a flank, but Swag going to slow him down. Misses the Dark Binding, but it doesn't matter because that inhibitor is going to go down. Now take a look at the fight in the bot side. Pandorum and Indigo, about a third HP down for each of them as the double up comes down for Moonlight. Gets the ultimate off, gonna barely survive. No, he's not. Swag gets the burn HP down, and that's gonna be a 3-2 for 1 over here, but it's going to be enough. Look at how beefy Pandorum is protecting Vampiric Narwhal. Out comes the flank with the counter-strike. Black Shield going to come out to keep him alive, and Swag trying to flank. Good kiting coming out from Vampiric Narwhal, keeping him alive. Indigo barely alive in the backside here, but it doesn't matter because that second Nexus Tower is going to come down. Enchanted Crystal Arrow landing onto Pandorum, and off to the side, check your mini-map, trying to find an angle, but it's not going to matter because the Nexus is going down, and that is going to be the end of Game 3 and the series going over to BDE Corruption.
Boy, Dory, how disappointing is that for Hyperion in a game where you finally had a little bit of legs, where you were finally starting to get something, and not just going even, but coming out significantly ahead and having it just disappear like that.
Yeah, it's honestly tragic. Hyperion put up a fight the entire series. It was still an exciting series. All these games were so even for so long, despite even starting off on a bad foot. Smiteless Jungler still getting a massive lead for your team, even when you're behind. You guys took a Smiteless jungle game, gave them a run for their money, and still fell just a little short and could not convert that into a win with a lead in games 2 or 3.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, BDE Corruption was the better team. But Hyperion proved that they were still a very good team, with just a couple of things that if they could have cleaned it up before they got into playoffs, they could have shown out much better.
Yeah, and I mean, you don't want to chalk it up to a role swap, right? Or a player swap or a roster swap coming out from the jungle. Because Check Your Minimap has proven to be an impressive player throughout the season. I think he played incredibly well. I think he fit into the mold for this team very well. But unfortunately, things just didn't click in the mid game. They weren't able to convert their leads into anything relevant, and stagnating when you're such a good early game team like this Hyperion team, you really need to be able to push those advantages more effectively. And I'd honestly say, like, hats off to BDE Corruption for being able to stabilize games, slow them down, and then find your opportunities.
Thoughts have abandoned me at this point, Dory.
Thoughts have abandoned me? Alright. Well, with that being said, I mean, we don't know the result of the Corruption series so far. I don't think we've seen... Nope, no match history post yet. But we'll see. So if Corruption manages the upset, then we're going to see BDE Corruption facing off against Rev Regalia. If we do not see the BDE update, or the Conduit upset, then we're going to be seeing them face against their sister team, BDE Typhoon, next week. Which team, if we're BDE Corruption, do we think that they'd rather see?
Oof. Rev Regalia looked so good throughout the regular season. Typhoon was solid, but had a couple of spots, a couple of moments where they seemed beatable. So I think you go for the sister team if you can.
Yeah, I mean, it'll hurt to knock out the sister team, but I kind of agreed. When I wrote that article today, I was looking through the teams, and I think Corruption matches up very well into Typhoon, and I think scrimming internally definitely helps them. I'm sure they've scrimmed internally plenty. I'm sure they're very well aware of how each other play. So I agree. I think with Lespanx and Chubby Chernobyl playing on Rev Regalia, they're like by far the scariest team in the league right now. So hats off. We're going to see how Corruption versus Rev Eternal is going. We'll keep you guys updated. But in the meantime, thank you guys so much for watching. And quarterfinals are over. We got a lot more gameplay to go. Next week, we've got Platinum semifinals. We've got our semifinals. And this Saturday, make sure you're here this Saturday because we've got Diamond Finals coming to the mainstream, featuring probably Bully and probably me. Maybe Billy. We'll see.
But only time will tell.
For sure. And with that, from all of us here at Blue Otter League, thank you so much for your time, Alls, for going double duty again. Hopefully we don't force you to do it, but we do. Never sad about having you next to me.
Hey, always a fun time, especially with games like this. They keep it interesting, they make it fun, and it's a blast hanging out with you guys and with the entirety of the lovely BOL Twitch chat. Folks, we'll see you all later this weekend for that BOL Diamond finale, but for now, good night, everybody.